There we go. There we go.
Now we're here. All right.
Okay, so no one heard anything we just said. So
That's true.
We're gonna have to do our whole intro again.
All right, that makes sense.
I planned this thing out since last night.
Really? You've been planning? Well, then
Yes.
just go while I fix all this stuff.
Okay, so we're gonna fix all this stuff. In the booth, it's at Redcap's corner, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, somewhere in the city.
West Philly.
West Philadelphia.
Born and raised.
I'm not doing the rest of the song.
Okay.
In the booth, we have the one and only Garrett Fahan.
Close enough.
Joined by your man's Alex J. Chen. If you don't know me, you should.
I'm aware that we're losing some frames here. I'm going to fix that. Just give me a minute.
Yeah. So we're here for some Monday Night Modern. Little,
These decks.
slightly.
We're late because of computer
Yeah.
troubles. Yes.
As I said when no one could hear us, if you're looking to buy a new computer, don't buy a pre-built ever. It's not good for you. I like being able to fix my own things.
That is the problem with this computer. I think that this is the problem. This needs to be set to this, and this should be 60.
Lock it at 60 frames. That looks somewhat better. I can't tell. It might be a placebo.
No, it's still choppy.
What's up, Shaka?
Why don't you start
Yeah.
doing the commentary, and I'm gonna go mess
Yeah,
with the
you
camera.
got it. All right, so in the classic modern fashion, we got some weird decks on camera. We got Ben playing KCI, Quark Clan Ironworks combo, for those unaware. And on the right is Carl playing the Necrotic Ooze combo. This is a version of the... Okay, I'm blind. I'm blind. Anyway, the Necrotic Ooze is a form of the Vizier combo deck, but instead of using Kitchen Finks and, Devoted Druid, and... Why can't I think of the name of the card? Oh my god, I'm so bad. The priest guy from Animal Cat. We'll call him that for now. Necrotic Ooze basically says it has all the abilities of all the cards in your graveyard, all the creature cards in your graveyard. So just resolving a Necrotic Ooze with enough combo pieces in the graveyard is going to be enough to win him the game. With a combination of -1/-1 counter cards. I believe it's that card from Lorwyn or Shadowmoor or something like that.
Which one?
The one that you use in the Necrotic Ooze combo.
Oh yeah, we're using Devoted Druid, which
Right.
taps to add a green in your mana
Right,
pool
we
and
knew
puts a
that.
-1/-1
Talking
counter.
about that, but it
Oh,
abuses
-1/-1 counter to untap it.
Right, but with Necrotic Ooze
Morsel
combo,
Hoarder.
Morsel Hoarder, that's the one. So essentially, you make infinite mana. It's great. And it looks like we're off to the races here. We missed what was going on in the camera. Looks like a turn one.
Yeah,
Ancient
I'm
Stirrings.
Still having trouble with the camera. Bear with us, everyone. If I just switch this back to defaults.
I'm gonna turn these off.
Oh yeah, if you would put that not on the table, because I bet the microphone is getting a big.
I will turn all of these. There we go. Turn all them off. Much better.
Perfect start as always.
Yeah, you know how it is.
This is commentary in hard mode when you're trying to commentate, but also.
I can't even see what's going on. I'm blind.
We're Ancient Stirringsing right now.
Yeah, the
Ben
Ponder
is
of
again.
Modern.
Yeah, he's gonna take this KCI from the Ancient Stirrings most likely.
Yeah, KCI, really good card. Usually when the card is the title of the deck, you probably want to probably want to take it off your cantrips.
That's a reasonable assumption. And here's Terrarian as well. It's another one of these eggs. When it goes to the graveyard, it draws them a card. And
I
you can sacrifice
appreciate
it for
I
mana.
appreciate the OG printing, a man after my heart. Although those groves could use some work, but that's okay.
It's fair. Old groves are expensive. So Carl just ramping up with the Devoted Druid here, and the cool thing about his creature combo is that some of the creatures are just good on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
If the way his combo goes off is he tries to get Doom Whisperer into his graveyard, which is a new card from Guilds of Ravnica, and it lets him pay 2 life to Surveil.
So if you have that in your graveyard and a Necrotic goes out, you're just like, okay, let me just dump the rest of my
dump
combo
your
in the
entire
graveyard.
deck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's also just totally passable to play a Mana Dork on turn 2. Even if it dies, it's like, okay, cool. Whoops. Looks like
Double Rampant Growth.
2 Explorers. But yeah, so, just playing a Mana Dork on turn 2, totally fine. Not a terrible play. If it dies, it dies. Ivan Drago out in these streets. And if it doesn't die, he could go off, potentially.
Alright, I'm going to just update the title for now that we're having video problems for this round, and then I'm just going to focus on fixing it before next round. New problems to overcome.
So, yet another Ancient Stirrings from Ben here. Cannot see what he's pulling out because I cannot see the stream anymore.
Sorry, 1 second. All right, hard mode over. Now you just get to do commentary.
I love doing commentary. So it looks like I don't know what he found. Resolved him.
Oops. Jesus Christ. It's all right.
Help! It looks better.
It does. This is the size it's supposed to be, I guess.
Oh.
But I just need to mess with the settings. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, all right.
This is a mulligan. The 6 of you can just deal with this.
We're getting somewhere.
Maybe I could just do it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. And then just pull it out or expand it.
Well, I'm going to delete it and make a new one. All right. Sorry.
I'm blind.
Oh, God. What's happening?
Everything's dark. Dad? Dad, are you there? I can't see.
Here, let me go to you. So
it's so dark.
You can be your own dad. Oh my God, this computer is really...
It's so dark.
As soon as it lets me.
It's like the song One by Metallica. I have no arms or legs, and I can't see.
We're fine.
There we go.
We're gonna put that on the back.
We're gonna put that one on the bottom.
All right, now we're gonna forget any of this.
We're gonna try that one to the bottom.
All right.
Okay.
See, we didn't miss anything.
All right, Engineer Explosives on 0, and a KCI.
Perfect time to tune in as
KCI
for sure. Just goes off.
And similar with, we were talking about Carl's deck, how all of his creatures are pretty decent on rate. You know, Explosives out of the KCI deck is a combo piece. It's a 0 mana artifact, but, you know, could also just like, oh, you're playing humans.
Kill
okay,
something.
Goodbye.
Kill your Thalia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the only thing it doesn't answer is Stony Silence.
Yeah, but that's okay. Fun fact, Thalia does absolutely nothing to stop Engineer Explosives casting on the number that they want it to because of the way it's templated.
Yeah, that's great.
So for those of you who don't know, Engineer Explosive just has Sunburst. So you say X equals 1.
And pay 2 mana.
And then pay 2 mana of 2 different colors. It's like, oh, I paid more than 1 color. Boom.
Right. So this is what we probably would expect from this match in Game 1, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just Ben is playing the faster combo.
Yeah.
And neither of them have any meaningful interaction.
Yeah, I mean, that's just basically how a lot of Game 1s in Modern are right now. It's just 2 ships passing in the night, a lot of fast combo, a lot of decks just trying to further their own game plan. And, you know, if your game plan is so blisteringly fast that you're going to win before your opponent sets up their game plan, there's really no need to have interaction.
Absolutely. And it's going to be on Carl then going into games 2 and 3 to figure out a way to disrupt his opponent's game plan.
Yeah, for sure.
I am aware that he has Groundswell in his sideboard.
That is neat. That is
going to stop the Scrap Trawlers from targeting things to bring them back from their graveyard. Let me get Scrap Trawler.
Oh, I know me a Groundswell. I've been
Seal.
Groundswell, yeah. Groundswell is the infect card.
Yeah, it is. That's another card we featured on the stream.
The what's her called? I've been on the reverse end of a ground seal many a time. Used to be the play in Legacy that countered Deathrite Shaman out of like Nick Fick decks, and it looks like the game is just over.
Yeah, I mean Ben comboing off there at light speed. It's hard to do play-by-play.
Yeah,
because they shortcut everything. Basically, in case you don't know, the combo here is that he has a Scrap Trawler in play and a KCI in play.
Correct.
And then he has a Lotus in his graveyard, a Mox Opal.
Yeah, basically an artifact that costs less than
and
Scrap
a Mirror
Trawler.
Retriever.
And the weird thing that makes it work is that I believe the ruling is paying for spells and abilities doesn't use the stack or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
just declare.
Yeah, so because KCI is a mana ability, you just say okay, do all your things, and it's like there's no priority pass, there's no nothing
absolutely
like that,
not. You're basically winning.
Which is why it's very dumb.
Yeah.
Although if you are playing against this deck at your local game store, do make your KCI opponent play it out because it is not a loop. It is like you do need to find the correct cards to put into your graveyard.
There is a loop eventually.
There is a loop eventually, but it's not just I've heard a story of a friend who witnessed a KCI player just get scoops when he says like, okay, I just make infinite mana and draw infinite cards. And it's like, well, like you kind of do that, but you have to set that up first.
Absolutely.
And as it turned out, he didn't actually know how the combo worked.
Well, I mean, that's a good way to beat your opponent.
Yeah.
A lot of these, if you are playing this at your local store, you might play against players who are kind of inexperienced and take wins just because it's such a difficult and clunky deck to play. Yeah. But Ben is not.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing.
He has done this a lot.
He will definitely show you that you're dead in several ways. And if you see him sideboarding in here... See, what I never understood is, why do KCI players play Bolt instead of Galvanic Blast?
I guess Bolt kills everything they care about also and is less conditional.
Yeah, but it's like, what is 3 toughness, right? Like, it still kills Thalia, it still kills all the hate bears.
Sure.
And you figure that, you're, like... There's a very low... I mean, you're getting... you're getting Metalcraft.
Sure.
The other one, you're getting Metalcraft very quickly in the KCI deck. So I can, if there's a case of a 3 toughness creature that comes down on turn 1.
Yeah, but maybe it's also like you're fighting through a lot of hate, and you actually need, before you can play your artifacts, you need to destroy a 3 toughness creature.
Sure, but what creature?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. I remember when the deck first came out, a lot of lists were playing Galvanic Class, and for some reason they're all just on Bolt now.
I mean, there's got to be a reason, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'd be able to logistically or logically think of a reason, but I really can't, because that was my first thought, was like, oh, maybe there's like a 3 toughness creature, but it's like it has to come down on...
Let's put it to chat then. Chat, your job is to figure out why we're playing Bolt instead of Galvanic Blast in the sideboard. I mean, maybe we're boarding out artifacts, but if you don't have Metalcraft, you're not winning the game.
It's still a shock. Yeah. If it's not Metalcraft, like, that's still fine. I mean, it's not Bolt. Obviously, it's not
it's
Bolt.
for, like, I mean, are there Wild Nacatls in the format?
Maybe. Are there...
Right? Because if they play a Wild Nacatl, you're sad if you've got Galvanic Blast in your hand, right?
Yeah, but it's a Wild Nacatl turn 1, so they need to have
that's a 2/2.
Yeah, like...
Turn 2 Wild Nacatl.
Whatever.
We're playing around the Galvanic Blast, and then you're like Lightning Bolt.
Anyway,
game 2. Carl's on the play, he boarded in, like, fucking 12 cards.
That's a lot of cards.
That's a lot of hate.
So Carl's bringing
in
Carl's bringing in what? Ground Seals. And what else?
Assassin's Trophy.
Assassin's Trophy. That's a new card.
He's bringing it. It just destroys any permanent.
It does destroy any permanent. He can't get a basic though, so it's like a 2-for-1, but for the other person.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but
when you're killing a KCI, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter, exactly. And then he might have some more hate, like a Nature's Claim or something.
Definitely Nature's Claims is expected. Although Nature's Claim isn't amazing at shutting off the combo. You can really only tag a KCI with it because you can get them into an awkward spot where they have like some of the creatures out and then a KCI, but it's like they're never like a good KCI player is never gonna run his Scrap Trawlers or his Mirror Retrievers out before he has the KCI up.
Right.
Because like if it just gets killed, then like they're just not gonna let that happen. And usually if they play it out, it's like maybe it might be a combo mirror that they need the body on, or there's like a value card in the graveyard that they could pick up.
He also is playing black, so he could have access to Thoughtseize. Is the like final element of his sideboard.
Definitely hand disruption, probably a staple of any black sideboard in Modern.
Yeah, if you have a critical density of hate pieces, then even though any one of them individually could be bad.
Yeah. Something like hello.
Maybe the combination of all of them could get the job done.
Yeah, for sure. Thoughtseize obviously great. Can't really say enough about Thoughtseize. Take whatever card you want. You only have to pay 1 mana and 2 life. So
and your life sincerely doesn't matter at all.
My life doesn't matter at all for sure.
Hopefully we'll get to see Carl go to 2 here by surveilling with his Doom Whisperer from the graveyard even. That'd be very cool. Let's get rid of this Scrap Trawler. You guys know what it does.
Yeah, you know what it do.
It's like when you do these casts, even on week 3, I'm already like KCI, hand wave.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna,
whatever.
Look, they just pick up cards and put them down. And you die.
Yeah, it's just you pick things up and put them down.
That's all there is to it. It does remind me a lot of the old Second Sunrise decks before that was banned.
Yeah, a lot of eggs, a lot of ways to get all your eggs back. Very not fun to play against. I remember I was 10-2 at a GP Hartford. I played against Matt Nass. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, Matt Nass won that GP.
Yeah, he did.
And
he beat Michael Mapson in the
he
finals.
beat Mapson too. Yeah, he beat Matt Nass killed a lot of Redcap's players.
Yeah,
in that tournament. He beat Ethan
KCI.
Gajewski, he beat me, he beat Kevin Place, he beat Michael Mapson in the finals.
Jeez.
But yeah, I was playing Affinity and I had assembled the turn 4 kill with a hope of Giripur as well.
Yeah.
And he just killed me on turn 3. And I'm just like, okay.
That'll do it. It's very fast.
Yeah, Matt Nass also just insane player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's very good at casting magical spells.
I mean, this deck, most of the pieces for this deck have been around for a long time, but no one's playing it because
it's funny. I was actually talking to a few friends that a lot of these modern decks that are cropping up now have all like Lantern, KCI, Hollow One. They all sort of started as like pet decks from just people on like MTG Salvation or something,
right.
And then pros picked it up and they're like, oh wait, like this is really good. Let me just like punch the correct numbers in.
Right, exactly. All right, so Carl's got a turn with Faithless Looting, putting 2 Walking Ballistas in his graveyard. So the Walking Ballista is the kill condition now.
Right, yeah, just remove +1/+1 counters,
You
shoot
generate
things.
infinite mana with Morsel Horde, Devoted Druid combo, and then you put infinite +1/+1 counters.
You can use Walking Ballista's 4 mana ability to put a counter on your Necrotic Ooze and then just take it right off and shoot them.
Right, and Carl was explaining how he also plays a single Spike Shot Elder in Moto, but not in paper, because when you play a Moto, it takes like 5 minutes to kill them with the Walking Ballista activated ability.
Right, so you just need
you just do Spike Shot Elder because it only costs 15 mana.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cute.
All right,
and Devoted Druid as well, so this is definitely a good start.
Yeah, good start, but we have a lot of good artifacts on Ben's side here.
That's true. He does not have a KC. Oh no, he does.
Yeah, he does have it in hand.
He's gonna come down next turn probably.
Yeah, definitely coming down next turn. This, I mean, he's got a Terrarian, he's got a Cycle there, he's got a Cycle in the Star, and having the Ichor Wellspring as well with the KCI out.
Yeah.
Even if he tags it with like an initial Nature's Claim, he's making a bunch of mana. He's drawing a card off the Wellspring. He's getting back a Star.
Yep.
Or actually, no, he's not getting back a Star. He needs the Scrap Trawler. My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, he's still missing one piece of the combo, but he's going to put it together. He's got 2 more draws when he sacrifices these artifacts, so he might just go for it.
Yeah, all right, so we got some mana. It looks like just a Raw Dog Doom Whisperer.
Turn 3, play a Doom Whisperer. And that's what he's saying, is sometimes you play Devoted Druid, ramp it for 2 mana, and just attack them with your guy.
Yeah, Doom Whisperer, seeing a lot of play in the standard tables, not so much in modern, but as we noted earlier, the activated ability of just paying 2 life to surveil 2, it's really good.
Okay, here comes the KCI.
All right. So now the question is, can the KCI player get it done here?
He's gonna get 3 cycles, and there he finds the Ancient Stirrings as well, and a Scrap Trawler.
Okay, so now we're kind of cooking.
Yep, that's.
He does not have a 0 cost in the graveyard. I don't. Oh wait, yes he does.
Yeah, he's got that.
Okay.
That land counts.
I believe he's already expended his land drop this turn. Unfortunately, there's not much to talk about here.
He doesn't have a Mirror Retriever yet, and that's the key. He actually needs Mirror Retriever.
Yeah, the Mirror Retriever makes it so that he can go essentially infinite. Yeah,
actually infinite.
Yeah, actually infinite.
Until he needs a Mirror Retriever and another Trawler or another KCI.
Right.
And then what he's going to do is play the 3-drop.
And there's a Mirror Retriever. And there's a Pyretics Bulb. The Pyretics Bulb is going to go on the bottom of his library.
He can find it, though.
But he'll find it again.
You don't actually need it. What you do is, the loop is the Opal, the Retriever, a 1-drop, and a 3 or 4-drop.
Right.
Like another Trawler or another KCI. And you just sacrifice it to recur the Retriever.
Right.
The Retriever recurs the KCI and also
or the Scrap Trawler.
And then also the
Mirror Retriever.
Opal, and then you make infinite.
Yeah. And because it's a mana ability and it's not, because it's a mana ability, you can activate it whatever without priority. It'll allow them to see each other when they enter the graveyard, I believe.
Yes.
So that's basically
right. It's in the graveyard by the time the
yeah.
Because it's a mana ability.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like Carl's gonna start surveilling. I'm not sure what he's gonna put in his graveyard that would help him here. He doesn't have any open mana.
Well, I think Ben may have passed. I see a Spine of Ishsa in his hand.
That's a Spine of Isha. That says Isha.
Okay. And I think he fizzled and potentially scooped. I think Carl was explaining how he's going to just
and so now he just has a Necrotic Ooze on top of his library. And he's going to play the Necrotic Ooze, presumably. And I think he's got it because he had the...
But I think he may have... I'm not sure if he scooped or Ben demonstrated that he won the game. I'm going to actually go talk to him.
We're going to get some confirmation from the table.
Carl, did you scoop but demonstrate that you were going to win on the lane start? Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I surveilled 10 times in a row. Nice. I put 10 surveil triggers on the stack.
Okay, so yes, Carl did concede to Ben, who went off with his lethal KCI combo.
But he did have lethal.
But he did, yes. So again, as we said earlier before the round started, just Modern with these combo decks, just 2 ships passing in the night. Whoever gets their whoever gets it done faster will indeed get it done.
And unfortunate for Carl, who won round 1 with this sick combo deck, and you see how it's fast. Like he was going to get there on turn 4.
Yeah, Ben Friedman, I believe it was Ben Friedman who posted an article about this deck saying like, hey guys, Necrotic Ooze is about to be broken, so you guys should play this deck.
Because of specifically
because of
Doom
specifically
Whisperer?
well, not specifically Doom Whisperer, but I mean if you look at it has an infinite combo in the Devoted Druid and the Morsel Hoarder.
Sure.
But as you see, like you're just playing great creatures on rate, and you're playing cards that accrue a lot of value. Like Faithless Looting in this deck is so insane.
Yeah, I don't know about great creatures.
Well,
right?
I mean, sure, great creatures, but like you're not
turn 3 Doom Whisperer.
You don't have to play Vizier of Remedies,
right?
Which is a very bad creature. Goblin Pikers aren't too great. I would know. I've casted a few in my days.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, and already the format this is already a format where Faithless Looting is at its highest. Like its stock has never been higher.
Yeah, for sure.
And now you're playing it in a deck that fully utilizes the graveyard in. I'll just put. It's like you can just have a Necrotic Ooze out and just put cards in your graveyard, and you almost like cast the creature essentially,
right?
Because you just
You're
immediately
basically
get the
cheating
effect.
a bunch of mana.
Yeah, and if your Necrotic Ooze was in play the turn before, now essentially the creatures you put in the bin, their abilities have haste. So like if you dump, dump a Devoted Druid in,
that's a good point that you brought up. Actually, I don't know if Carl's deck is playing a haste enabler. It's possible he actually needed 2 turns, right? Did he have to play the ooze, then wait a turn, and then go off once it wasn't summoning sick anymore, or does he have a haste enabler in the graveyard?
I believe the way that Morsel Hulk. I believe the way it's worded is you just have to remove a -1/-1 counter.
Right. So and same with Devoted Druid.
Right. Yeah. So you don't
even need
it. Yeah.
I see.
Because it's just the activate ability of putting a -1/-1 on tap it.
Right. I see. And then you go combo.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, cool. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
That deck's great.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go see if I can get
an auxiliary match
on the stream. Yeah. And
I'll talk to the people. I love talking to people.
Do you want to be on the camera, or should I go to?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the camera. It's fine. We saw out of the sideboard of the. Let me pull this curtain aside a little more. There we go. We saw out of the sideboard for the Necrotic Ooze deck, Ground Seals, and Assassin's Trophies. Really, all they can do in those color pairings. Hey, buddy. You just moseying on in here? What's okay?
I lost some burn player.
I'm sorry to hear that. That was Ethan Gajewski, notable silver professional player now. He was bronze before it was cool. He's walking away like a cool guy. But yeah, so chat, what you're thinking? Send some vibes our way. What can we do to improve the stream? What can I personally do to make your lives better? Because that's all I'm really here for. Let's see. Where is Garrett right now? I believe he is. There's a couple games still going on here. Might be able to get round 3 paired up in short order. Just reading chat. I see some people here. I see is that guy at the shop who plays Storm and Lantern but hadn't been in for Modern in a few weeks. Hello, that guy at the shop who plays Storm and Lantern. Are you guys going to stream Fridays? I'm not sure. Right now it's Garrett who is... Are we streaming Fridays?
We are not streaming Fridays. Right now we're just streaming on Monday nights.
Right. This is very much a pilot program.
This is a pilot program.
Yes.
That's a good way of putting it.
I have my pilot's license. It's in my wallet.
The next thing we're going to do from here is Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, Wednesday Legacy.
And I think streaming Wednesday should be pretty interesting because people like Legacy and you don't get to see much.
Yeah,
you don't get to see it regularly.
Legacy. I remember when we used to stream Legacy here at the old shop and then initially at the new at our current location. Love casting Nimble Mongoose. I'm very good at that.
That's your deck of choice?
Yeah, that's my deck of choice. For those of you who don't know, I'm a powerful mage who's known to put the creature spell Nimble Mongoose on the stack.
It's interesting. I think watching Modern now is going to be even better than before the bans. Like, the problem with commentating on, or sorry, Legacy before was all the countertop players. Like,
Yeah.
spinning tops is like the most boring thing to watch. So I'm pretty keen to get.
I mean, it's boring to watch, but the thing with top was that, I mean, I agree that Miracles was definitely too good pre-ban.
Yeah, I won a lot of money playing that deck.
But the thing with top was that, you know, for those players who knew how to use top, resolving top activations did not take much time at all. No. You saw net one new card every top.
Right. But a lot of players would forget and like re-top several times just to remind themselves.
Which is like fine, I guess. I honestly, it's been a while since the top ban. If you had to ask me, I think Terminus was a completely acceptable ban.
Sure.
Because that way the countertop still gets its. You know, countertop obviously still exists, but the problem was that the white decks like Death and Taxes, they would combat these control decks with mana denial and taxing effects, but when you have a 1-mana Wrath and instant speed, it doesn't matter. So
I mean, you could also just have hit counterbalance because that card is
that as well. Top on its own as a card selection engine without counterbalance is totally passable.
Right.
So I think honestly, I think a better ban would have been counterbalance or Terminus, but as it stands, top was the one to go.
I agree with the top ban.
Yeah,
because you can't trust players to use it.
But it's
But someone in chat, Craig wants us to ask, or wants us to talk about what the modern metagame is like at Redcaps right now.
Well, he just asked what the Redcaps meta was, not even Legacy or Modern.
Well, that's fair.
But we are playing Modern tonight.
Yeah,
so
let's talk about the Modern metagame.
What is the Modern metagame? I haven't been here in a minute. I've been busy doing real world adult things.
There's a lot of combo going on today.
As we just seen,
yes.
Combo Mirror.
Well, tons of people are playing the red-black discard strategy.
Okay.
We saw someone last week, Hollow One. But we saw also someone last week experimenting with the Arclight Phoenix build of Hollow One.
Yeah,
I've like Hollow One
seen
with
that.
Metamorphoses.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
It did really well. Yeah,
Gut
it really
shots,
did.
street raids, Metamorphose, Faithless Looting, Lightning Bolt.
Yep.
You know, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen a mono red list that's just a bunch of mountains.
Oh
and
yeah,
Arclight Phoenixes
so
and Hollow Ones.
Right, there's the mono red list as well, but also the red black list. What else? We have some diehard Tron players.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
always at Redcaps.
You're gonna get that at any store, just like, you know, any. You walk into any bar during an Eagles game, someone's gonna have a Giants jersey on. Like, you know, that's just how it is.
Exactly. And then Burn and other like quote unquote budget decks or like cheaper decks.
Yeah, you know, lots of fun interactive Magic being had in your local modern tables.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect to play against any blue-white control. That used to be the Redcaps meta.
It used to be the thing, yeah. You know, eons, millennia ago.
Yeah, it's doing like okay recently, but not here.
It's doing okay, but it's also like, it's a very, I don't want to say it's an expensive deck and that's why people aren't playing it, but like, you know, when you have all these, you know, new fancy toys and all these new modern decks that use standard legal cards, you know, you just, you know, you're just buying in for, you know, not, I need to buy Jaces and my Colonnades and my everything.
Oh my god, yeah.
Actually, on MTG, well, that's for standard.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. It's just like, no, if you want to talk about Jeskai control in standard, I can talk about that. But we're looking at the modern metagame on MTG Goldfish right now. Oh yeah, how has Dredge been? Has there been a lot of Dredge in this store?
People aren't playing Dredge.
Very good, I hear.
The humans and the spirits decks, though, have been cropping up a lot.
Yeah, the tribal decks are very powerful. I will say this once, I'll say it again. You have no reason to play Merfolk anymore in 2018 when humans exist.
Sure.
This is
even spirits, too.
This is a direct shot at you, Taylor. Stop playing Merfolk. I'm sorry.
Hell yeah, dude.
But
even spirits has a better.
Yeah, I mean, Spellqueller is pretty nice.
Yeah, and Spellqueller.
I hear Spellqueller can counter spells that can't be countered because you exile the spell. That's so crazy.
Yeah. I was going to say when I came back and I forgot that everyone's already in game 3 in the top tables, so we're not going to do it back on stream. We're just going to talk for a few minutes. We might send it to a break. Yeah. I was going to go over and mess with the camera some more, although I think I fixed the.
I think honestly it looked fine from when on the last round it looked fine. Excuse me.
I still need some more luminous light bulbs, but
luminous bonds.
Luminous bulbs.
I had 4 luminous bonds in that team draft. It was so nuts.
Yeah, Alex and I did a team draft the other day.
Yeah,
How did that go, Alex?
We lost. My team lost,
Yeah.
which was very unfortunate because we had 2 pretty nutty Boros decks.
Yeah.
Ed's deck had like 3 Justice Strikes. It had 3 Sky Knight Legionnaires, and I was also drafting Boros. I first picked a Walljack Bodyguard. I had like 4 Luminous Bonds. And
So you opened that Beast Whisperer that I ended up
No,
with.
I don't think I did.
Okay.
I remember, what pack was that in?
3. No, so that was my teammate, I guess.
Yeah, it was your team, because I remember I did not pick any rares. None of my rares were good. Pack 1 picked one to Walljack Bodyguard, which is a 3-mana 3/3 with Mentor in red that cannot attack or block alone. Card's very good, but that was my first pick, so, you know.
It was an amazing draft for me. I want to tell this story, actually, because this was hilarious.
Yeah, go for it.
I show up at Redcaps. I'm doing some work or whatever.
You're actually setting up the stream, I think.
Yeah, right. I was uploading YouTube videos. You should check out our YouTube, by the way. Our videos from last week are up. They don't look amazing, but the matches were really, really good. So I would definitely watch them again.
Love watching people play Magic together.
So I was uploading the videos, and while I was waiting for them to upload, you and Ed Sokol baited me into playing a draft.
Well, so we had 5 people, and we wanted a team draft.
No, well, you had 3 people.
Okay, we had
You
3
roped
people.
me and 2 randos in.
Yes,
right?
the 2
Okay.
randos who... Okay, yeah,
Let me tell the story.
You're,
Okay.
you're right.
So they roped me and 2 randos in to play a team draft, and him and Ed, they're like, we want to do, the prize support is whoever wins gets every card. It's going to be super competitive.
Which I'm gonna say is reasonable. Okay,
It's reasonable.
It's not like you're bringing 3
reasonable.
booster packs, right? You're
No,
spending
it's
$9.
I'm not saying it's unreasonable, but,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
just, it
But-
adds to the irony of the situation.
Sure.
It's a beautiful thing. So we randomly determine the teams, and I randomly get paired with the 2 randos. So it's Ed and Alex and Ethan on the same team, the
Ethan
3
Doe.
people who wanted to play the prize support.
Yeah, we
versus
were the only
3 of
ones who
us.
actually showed up for the draft.
Yeah, and they also wanted to do the prize support that way, and the 3 of us were just like, whatever, I guess we'll play just to appease you.
Yeah.
And then we dominated you guys.
Okay,
and we
so
took all of the cards.
So I'm gonna say you did not dominate us. Okay, it did go to the last game. Okay,
It's
the
true.
final match score was 5-4.
It's true.
I'm sorry, no, it was 5-3 and 1 unfinished.
Right, that our team member could have easily lost.
Yes. So let's not say dominated,
Okay.
but I was slain. My team was slain.
I went 3
Ed's in
0.
chat. That's just
I
a
went
team
3.
draft. That's how it works. I agree.
Oh man,
I was 2-0,
was a great-
and I played against
so
I played
dominated.
against Garrett in the last round. I had a Boros deck. He had a Golgari deck that was very good, and we went to game 3, and it ultimately came down to me pulling the trigger on a sided-in Cosmotronic Wave a turn too early.
true. I don't think you ever cast it.
No, I didn't.
Unless
I
it's
sided
gonna be
in.
lethal, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
so like that was my argument for casting it there, was that you had postured your game state to start setting up the wall, and I had 2 mentor creatures and only
Okay, so you're like, I can pump them this.
So
turn
like I
with
want to be
Mentor.
able to I wanted to be able to get the extra turn of mentor triggers because 3 toughness was the wall you were setting up.
Right.
So that would allow me to at least get 2 more creatures above your wall.
Sure.
So, and then you just happen to have more dudes throw at me, including an X1.
Well, I had a Beast Whisperer in play,
Yeah, that
and I
too.
drew like 7
Well, yeah,
cards.
that was it too. I was like, I need to race this Beast Whisperer. There's
right.
no way I'm going to be able to kill it. I didn't draw my removal spell.
What a magic card.
So I just had to race it.
Alright, I'm gonna go check on the matches.
Okay, do that.
And well, I might kick it to a brief break here, depending on the timing.
I will say, before you leave, Ed says, Magic players gladly pay $10 for a pack of sleeves and then freak out when they don't get bulk rares back for 1-2ing a draft.
It's true.
He's right.
I like the prize support.
I like just...
I wasn't complaining about the prize support. I was just saying it was funny because it was your guys'
man, you know,
idea.
That's what happens
Yeah,
when you gamble. Sometimes you lose.
It's true. And magic is gambling.
Yeah, Magic is gambling. Don't get your kids into it.
All right, there's actually like 20 minutes in this round. I could get someone from the lower tables on the
Yeah,
stream.
let's just get someone on.
All right. I'll go do that.
In any case, you know, love playing Magic with my friends. What else can I say? Thank you everyone for joining us tonight on Redcap's Corners Monday Night Modern. We're out here on Lancaster Avenue, keeping it chilly. It's a little icy outside. Make sure you wear your coats, layer up, get your scarf, get your nice fleece hats. And if you make your way out here, make sure you're nice and bundled up. Exactly. I entirely agree 100%. So right now, Garrett is getting someone onto stream so we can put some Magic in front of you guys. But in the meantime, it's just me. So if you guys got any questions for me, let me know. I'm here, 24/7. Hit me up on my DMs at AlexJChen on Twitter. Just slide right in there. Let me know the questions you've been dying to ask me. I'll be happy to answer further. Happy to answer them for you. I'm a man for the people. Press 1 in chat, please. Garrett, where are you at? Garrett, I'm running out of material. All right, he's still looking for a pair of gentlemen to feature. Did we do it?
There are literally 2 matches left, and they're both in Game 3.
That sounds like fun.
It's interesting how you can have a 20-plus person tournament and have everyone in the room finish their match of Modern with 10 minutes left on the clock.
That's nice.
I mean, it speaks to the metagame around here. If you want to know what the metagame is like for Modern at Redcaps,
yeah,
everyone is done in 40 minutes.
Which is, it is what it is.
Yeah. Certainly not any control mirrors go into time.
Edward Sokol wants to know, what does S mean? The S on my hat. Well,
Supreme.
Yeah, I know, right?
Is it?
It's really cool. It says Supreme right there on the back of the hat.
Cool.
This gives me extra abilities when I wear it.
Oh,
and
it
does?
It has magical properties?
Yeah, and if I wear more than one Supreme item at once, I get a set bonus.
Wow.
That's how that works.
Is it like a +1 or a +2?
So I don't know. You basically roll every day. It's a new bonus.
Oh wow.
So I left the house. I went to work today, so I didn't want to get my good armor dirty. So I just put the headpiece on.
Just the hat.
Yeah, just the headpiece.
Just a little bit of magic damage.
Yeah. It's I think the other day I got I got an extra evasion from police, so I just sped my way to work.
Nice. Do you drive?
I do drive. Well, so I work in an office in New Jersey, so I commute there. So okay. I do have to drive in the city, but for the most part, I'm just doing 170 down the freeway in my mid-sized SUV, the Suburban Dream.
I hate driving. I haven't driven a car since I moved here 6 years ago.
I'm
terrified.
Driving is cathartic in a way. It's just you and your thoughts and a 2-ton death trap rolling around at 100 miles an hour.
Sure.
It's funny. Someone actually, I saw a post on Twitter. Someone was like, if you put me in a factory and gave me a $10,000 piece of machinery to operate, I would be concentrating with all of my life fibers.
Right.
But I'm just driving my car one hand. I'm just doing my eyebrows with the other hand. I'm just reading a book with my right foot.
Yeah.
Just it's just so crazy.
It's just because it's mundane, right?
Yeah.
You say you would do that with 10,000 machinery in a factory, but if you did that every day,
yeah, for sure.
Thing.
But I mean, you're literally operating a $10,000 death trap. It's a hunk of steel.
Yeah, no, it's terrifying.
It's like you're trapped in there in the steel.
No arguments from me, man.
LMAO having to drive to work. LMAO at having a job in the current year. Yeah, we can't all be Edward. I wish I could be Edward.
I work online, man. It's pretty incredible.
Must be nice. Are you a hacker, man?
No. I do online tutoring.
Okay.
For math. I have some clients in Philly as well.
Okay.
And I work for Redcap sometimes.
Yeah, I love Redcap's Corner. It's where I play all my Magic the Gathering locally.
It's a good place, man. It's been so good to be back recently.
Yeah.
Getting into Keyforge and...
Yeah, Keyforge is cool, the way you were explaining it to me.
Keyforge is a cool game. We're actually going to have organized Keyforge play coming up here very soon. I don't know the day of the week yet, but
yeah, I would potentially be. So how does Keyforge work?
So it's a Richard Garfield game.
Richard Garfield, didn't he make Magic the Gathering?
He made this little game called Magic the Gathering.
Oh.
And
wait, that way.
Right.
That above your head. That one right there.
That
Magic
one.
the Gathering.
It's backwards.
Yeah, it is backwards.
But it's not Wizards of the Coast. It's Fantasy Flight. And there are 7 different factions. Okay. And you buy a deck.
Are the factions akin to colors in Magic?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Actually, in a kind of meaningful way.
Okay.
When you buy a deck, a starter deck, it is 12 cards of 3 random factions,
Okay.
and 1 deck list card that tells you everything that came in your deck.
Okay.
So it's effectively a 36 card deck.
Okay.
And that's it. There's no deck building.
Okay.
You're not allowed to change your deck list. Your deck is a procedurally generated card back image and a procedurally generated name. And it's 36 essentially random cards.
Okay.
And you just have to figure out the synergies in your deck and figure out how to
But
play
what
it
if my
optimally.
deck sucks? Can I buy singles online?
You can't because you cannot deck build. You can buy good decks online if you want to, but you can
Well, that's
also
so
just buy
interesting.
more
So
decks.
it's like the deck itself is the booster pack.
The deck itself is the
That's like
booster
that's actually kind of cool.
It's fun because you can just. It's nice for me as someone who plays a lot of card games to get into this card game because it's like it requires the least amount of time investment and money investment of any game.
Yeah.
you're
How much is a deck?
A deck is like $10 plus tax, $11 plus tax maybe.
Well, I don't like paying taxes, so I don't want it.
Okay, well, just go over to like Oregon State, I
Yeah.
guess.
Get my back alley Keyforge dealer.
Right. Get your back alley Keyforge dealer going.
Yeah.
And buy some decks. It's the new. Everyone is playing it. We cannot even keep them in stock.
Really?
Here at Redcaps.
It's that
they're-
popular.
We've already gone through 33 starter, like the display kits that each
Right.
have
Well, is that the only product you just
12
buy?
decks in them, and we sold out of
I
all
mean,
of them.
that's like the only product though, right?
That's the only product.
Yeah.
There's only one set. You know, it just came out. It's just launching. And the cool thing about it too is you can do not only can you do constructed formats where you bring your best deck, your favorite deck, or whatever. You can also do sealed tournaments.
Or you just buy a deck.
Everyone just buys
Yeah.
a deck and you just play, and it's beautiful. You don't have to draft. You don't have to build a deck. You just buy it. Round 1, go. Play in the tournament.
Still equally screwed over by having a bad pool,
I mean,
as in Magic.
Sure. But
At least you don't have to. At least you don't have to sit there for 15 minutes building out of your bad pool.
But here's the thing, though. It is a Richard Garfield game. So mechanics that Richard Garfield loves, protection from green, stuff like that. So there are specific hate cards for specific
hosers.
factions. There are
Hosers, my guy.
So even if you have a bad pool or whatever, you might end up having some decent matchups.
Yeah, because you'll just like have insane like red elemental blasts just in your pool.
And lots of board wipes too. Sometimes, like I have a deck right now that has three sweepers, like 2 really good sweepers and 1 like medium sweeper. And the interesting thing about the game is you have a 36 card deck. When you run out of cards, if you ever go to 0 cards in your library, you shuffle your graveyard into your library.
Okay.
And you go again.
Okay.
So we've played some really long games where I played my 2-3 board wipes over and over and over again, and you can kind of grind people out.
Yeah.
That kind of deck. It's pretty interesting.
The way I'm thinking about this game is actually kind of interesting, where it's like, there's almost like a mythical property of having a good deck.
Oh yeah, there's
you- 'cause
gonna
you
be
can't-
some legendary decks
Because
out there, right?
you can't like find one. You can't build
No.
it online.
Right.
Like you have to randomly find.
Right.
It kind of, in a weird way, reminds me of like Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it's like you caught this really cool Pokemon as if you're like in the TV show.
right, yeah,
And you're like, yo,
exactly.
look at this cool Pokemon I
Right.
found. And it's not like you
Yeah.
can just go to the store and get your own cool
Right, no.
Pokemon.
It's like you really literally have your grandfather's deck.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
ancient
yeah,
Egyptian
yeah, like
artifacts in
yeah,
it.
yeah, like,
exactly.
like season 1 Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right,
Pulls out the
exactly.
briefcase.
It definitely has that like feeling of mysticism, and it's interesting too because right now, like I think people are bad at card evaluation and deck evaluation.
100%.
People are new.
100%.
Like I notice myself like making exactly opposite of correct evaluation,
Yeah.
and then like playing my deck over and over again. And I thought the Martians were like the bad cards in my deck, but it's
Right.
actually like the best part.
Yeah, well, I mean, just as whole, like in general, people who play card games aren't. I mean, obviously the good players are good.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It just takes practice, right?
Yeah,
And it
but
hasn't
it's
been
like,
time yet.
but especially considering, you know, you even have like lots of GP level grinders who, don't get me wrong, I mean, you know, if you're gonna commit a lot of time to it, you're gonna be good at something.
Yeah.
But at least, even personally, me, you know, I was playing Legacy for a long time, and you know, I would just play good deck lists. You know, I wouldn't really necessarily have. I wasn't a very good limited player because I didn't know how to individually evaluate cards. I just knew how to play the deck that I had.
Anyway, my point about that was that even if you open like a really sick deck and you want to sell it because it's super valuable because it's the best deck ever
Yeah.
randomly generated,
Yeah.
you have to convince someone else of that fact.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no way of measuring. Like there aren't tournament results either yet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's pretty sick.
Someone wants to know if Keyforge has a card that is
Analogous
Pot
to
of-
Pot of Greed. What does Pot of Greed do?
It is a Yu-Gi-Oh card, I believe, that just lets you draw cards for almost no
I
downside.
think-
it's like Professor
I
Oak.
think it allows you to draw 2 additional cards to replenish your hand.
Right.
I think that's what it
Yeah,
does.
it's Professor Oak.
Yeah.
0 mana divination. The thing about Keyforge is you draw up to 6 cards at the end of your turn, and there aren't resources, you can just play as many cards as
So
you
you're
can
telling me
in
you get to
turn.
Pot of Greed every turn times 3.
Yeah, you just have Necro in play, but
Okay.
it doesn't cost life. You always go up to 6.
But I really want to say that, I play the Pot of Greed Magic card. This allows me to draw 2 cards from the top of my deck to put into my hand.
Well, there are also cards that draw cards. There's a Glimpse of Nature
Okay.
for every card you play.
Okay, yeah, that seems fair
And there's
balanced.
there's another card that when you play it, it just reveal the top card of your deck and play that card, and those both count as being played, so you draw extra cards. So I had a game where I went off with that, and I went through my entire deck, shuffled my graveyard
And you
back
just
into
put
my
it back,
deck,
and then there's-
and I drew the Glimpse again and played the Glimpse on my Glimpse turn and had double Glimpse. It's pretty good. But the thing is, there's no real things as card advantage.
Yeah,
And
because
having I almost lost the game with like my whole deck.
yeah,
in my
because
hand
you
anyway.
just draw up to 6 anyway, so it's
Right.
not like
Yeah.
I guess
So
like being
we should be just about wrapping up the matches here. It looks like we have one blue-white player who's here and he's still playing.
yikes, big yikes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Richard Garfield games, have you been looking into Artifact?
I have watched Savit's streams.
Yeah, I've been watching Savit's stream too.
I like Savit's.
For those of you who don't know, Artifact is the Dota card game also made by Richard Garfield.
That's true.
One thing to note is it was not made from the ground up, or it was not made top down on Valve's point.
Right.
Richard Garfield had basically made this game, and he's like, all right, I need an IP to attach this to.
Right.
And he shopped around and felt that Dota's world completely fit the game that he was already trying to make.
Dota's millions of dollars fit the game that he was.
Well,
already.
so I mean, obviously you have Valve's tournament backing, but
Right.
the thing is, it's not like a Gwent where it's just okay, we're gonna make a Witcher card game,
Right,
and
right.
then it sucks.
It's not bottom up. It's top.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is bottom up.
It's bottom up, not top down. Right?
And Richard Garfield went to tons of IPs and found that Dota was the one that just naturally fit it the best. So this is a complete game, so you don't need to know how to play Dota. It helps because it's like it's cool. You get to like play the heroes and stuff.
Sure. But Dota doesn't have flavor. I mean, everyone just like goes onto the map and
it kind of
attacks
does,
each other,
but
right?
no one cares about it. Similar to Magic, but more people care about it in Magic.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it comes out this Wednesday. It's $20 on Steam. You will need to buy cards, but you can sell your cards on the Steam Community Marketplace.
Okay,
So
interesting.
it's like if you have
It's more like Moto.
kind of, I mean, you can't. There's no way to take your money off the Steam Community Marketplace.
Okay.
But like if you say you buy a booster pack and you get a card, you can sell it. You can sell it on the Community Marketplace. And then you get money in your Steam account, and you can buy like a game with it or something like that. So it's like it's kind of money, not really,
Right. You could illegally launder that money somehow.
but I mean, I've done that in the past. Don't tell anyone. Just like I sold a Dota item, cosmetic item, and someone was like, "Hey, I really want to buy Civilization 5." I'm like, "Okay, it's only 80% for you.
Right.
I need money."
Yeah. So I think we should be just about ready. I am going to switch us to a break while I set up
Do that.
the next round. And we're just going to be back in a few minutes, everybody. We are back for round quote-unquote 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-ish.
Something like that.
We have an interesting one, hopefully.
Yeah, it's hopefully a nice, fun, interactive match of Magic the Gathering.
I think it actually will be.
It should be, yeah. We have my son, my actual son Marley. I birthed him myself.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. And he's playing Blue-Red Wizards.
Okay.
He's not playing Doom Whisperer.
No.
And on the other side is, I believe Charles was his name?
I think it is not.
No,
I think
Scott. Scott, that was his name. And he's playing good old GDS, Grixis Death Shadoo.
Should do indeed.
Shablagoo. Is it Wizard? I like is it Wizard? Is it the hoe?
Okay.
Oh, I hear the default iPhone ringtone.
I know, right?
I'm just jamming.
There's a parakeet on YouTube.
Yeah, he's just like
squawks the
iTunes
that song. Yeah. All right.
Hello, Mitchell Socks, coming all the way from Nihon. Looks like a 7 from Marley. Let's see if Scott. Oh, he's not.
Look at that.
So 5 is less than 7. So assuming they did high roll, Marley.
Wait, let me pull out my calculator.
Marley will have the choice of player draw.
And he's gonna play first.
I think he's gonna play first.
You always play first in Modern.
I don't want to make assumptions, but
You always play first in this format.
look, he's not on Mantle Stretch.
A tired joke. Anyway, so we have 2 fair decks of Magic the Gathering.
Well, fair is a relative term. Certainly a 1 mana infinite is not fair, and certainly playing 8 lightning bolts isn't fair.
Right.
But in the context of Modern at large, these are fair strategies.
I guess I actually mean fair as a specific terminology, like
Right,
it's
yeah, of
jargon
course.
to mean not combo.
Yeah, basically.
Right. We're going to be attacking with creatures.
Yes.
In this game.
As magic is Morrow intended.
Right. Exactly.
We're going to turn creatures sideways, and we're going to point burn spells at faces.
Right.
Temur Battle Mage might be thrown in the mix. A couple Thought Seizes.
Sure. And then on Marley's side, he is playing, as you said, 8 copies of Lightning
Yeah,
Bolt.
basically, yeah. So that's one of the draws to the Wizards deck. You get to play Wizards Lightning, the new card out of Dominaria. If you don't have a Wizard in play, it's a 3-mana bolt. But if you have a Wizard in play, it's a Bolt.
Yes.
So he does effectively play 8 copies of Lightning Bolt, which is nice.
But his wizards are pretty small, right? So he's gonna have to get a lot of it.
It's gonna be like Soulscar Mage. It's gonna be Delver of Secrets. It's gonna be Snapcaster Mage,
right.
Grim Lavamancer. Funny enough, Delver of Secrets is not a wizard on his backside.
That's right.
He's an insect horror.
Right.
So Spirebuff Clanau into Grim Lavamancer.
Good start. Has that one drop. Very important.
Yeah. Being able to play a card like Grim Lavamancer main is really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, it goes without saying. It's a powerful sideboard card. Already resolved ley line of history. Benally's got his knight.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. It's a life. It's a life counter. Yeah. You know what? And speaking of life counters, life totals are actually going to be relevant. So I should get a life counter to the players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do that now.
You do that.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, having a Grim Lavamancer main board is very good because in a lot of matchups the shock doesn't necessarily matter too much, but it's wizard type line in addition with its utility makes it a very good main board card. Because in the matchups where the shock doesn't matter too much, it's still nice, and in the matchups where it does matter a lot, yeah, you can see it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this is like chip damage the matchup. Yeah. So it looks like a Thoughtseize is going to tag a Lightning Bolt. The rest of Marley's hand containing an Abrade and a Opt.
Main deck Abrade, interesting. Just for that removal. This is rough for Marley because ultimately, ideally what he would do is set up to have lots of burn at the same time.
Yeah, and fling it right when Scott will go to play his Death Shadow because he intentionally wants to go to a low life total.
Right, and you don't want to oblige them too much early on if you don't have the reach to finish. Right. One of the worst things you can do as an aggro deck against Death Shadow is get them to 8 and then have them stabilize.
Yeah, because your damage of attacking with creatures will...
It pumps
it'll kind of sputter out too because then the Death Shadow will be big. He'll get to
and it can block.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So you want to do creature damage as much as you can early on.
Yeah.
Save up a critical mass of bolts in your hand.
Right.
And then when they go low, you go low.
Let him have it.
You go high.
So another Thoughtseize is getting put on the stack. Marley picked up a Snapcaster Mage for last turn. So
is he flashing it in here?
No, I think
he just went to 17.
I think he's probably fetching because if he's casting Opt, he's going to want to probably keep the card on the bottom of his library.
He fetched untapped, but he is casting
Yeah,
Opt.
so presumably he's going to Opt here and then additionally use Grim Lavamancer.
I see.
Yeah. So I'm fine with this line of play because if you bottom a card with Opt, generally in the modern format you want to leave it on the bottom. You don't want to be drawing it again.
That makes sense.
So it looks like he just picked up a land, a Mutavault. That is a wizard. So that's actually pretty decent pickup there.
Nice. And that was the new art for Snapcaster Mage, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So Scott going down to 14. Looks like he's fetching down to 13, potentially shocking down to 11. It's going to be tough. Oh, no, he's not shocking. He's just getting a basic swamp.
I guess he...
Oh, he is? So...
Yeah, he's shocking himself with the Thoughtseize, but this is the delicate dance that Scott is playing in this game,
so he should be at 11 here, I believe.
And he does need to be careful not to deal himself too much damage.
Yeah, so right now there's 4 damage represented with this Grim Lavamancer.
Right.
So now he should be at 9, I believe.
And if the players forget to update, I'll just run over there and yell at them.
Yeah.
Should be going to 9. And now Scott's actually in a good position here because he went low, but he also Thoughtseized and saw the coast was clear in terms of a handful of bolts.
Yeah.
So now the best thing Marley can do is just draw into his reach. He drew a spell.
So that's not... It's not incredible in this matchup. It will, if he is playing Grixis Death Shadow, so he will be able to counter like a Lethal Temper Battle Rage.
Sure.
But not a lot of 2 CMC spells in the Grixis Death Shadow deck.
What do we have? Do we have Snapcaster Mages?
Yeah, it's like not even. I mean, it's really just TBR, honestly. That I can think about it. Maybe like Terminate, something like that.
Here's a Bauble.
Pretty innocuous. I do see a Snapcaster Mages around. Yeah.
So that is in there.
I may be out of practice, so he's going to look at his own. Nice little interaction.
He's going to look at the top card, and then he's going to draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep.
Yeah, so
he can shuffle that card
Yeah, having
away.
the fetch lined up, pretty important for that.
And we do see them update their life totals. I believe that's a 9.
All right, so it looks like he is going to go for like a Snap Thoughtseizes here to clear the way.
No,
that's a Gurmag Angler.
That makes sense. He probably anticipates that the coast is more or less clear.
Yeah,
Marley only having 1 draw step.
So Scott should be going down to 8 here with the fetch. Yep, and... So Marley honestly just needs to put cards in the graveyard. This Lavamancer will represent enough damage. Snap is stocking Grixis. Okay, thank you, Mitchell. He's going to get a tap Steam Vents here. That 2 life representing a lot in this setting. That's
He's low enough, right? He doesn't need to go any lower.
Well, I mean, specifically, that's just, a turn off the clock. Obviously, taking damage is not crucial, but especially in multiples of 2. Looks like Marley did not activate his Lavamancer on end step. That may or may not have been on purpose. Considering he's not going to be able to put more cards in his graveyard,
I think
it might not matter.
Yeah. He's going to play this Soulscar Mage here.
Oh, maybe his plan is to shoot the Gurmag Angler down with the Soulscar Mage out because it'll shrink it.
Does it interact with Grim Lavamancer that way? It's just any damage?
It's any non-combat damage.
Okay.
So that could potentially be his line, yeah.
Okay. And he's leaving this Mutavault up as well. Grim is getting bolted.
That's getting bolted. Yeah,
I'd imagine where this goes.
I'd imagine he's going to shoot the.
I think I go face here, right?
Does he go face? He does go face.
He goes face. I like this line, honestly.
I can respect that as well.
Your opponent's a 6. They clearly don't have a Death Shadows yet.
Yeah,
you just have to go for it.
And in having 2 attackers, he really can't.
Well, and you notice Scott doesn't even attack with the. Gurmag, because he doesn't think he can race at this point, knowing his opponent has a lot of reach. So this was a smart play from Marley, I'm pretty sure, just going face there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, having multiple creatures, if he attacks with it, even though he might not be dead on board, any burn spell off the top will trigger prowess, hit him in the face.
Right, and Scott has to be aware that there's going to be a lot of burn spells in this deck.
I mean, again, that was the reason why you'd play an Is It Wizard strategy, in that you're playing a lot of spells. Since you're also a Delver deck, you need to have a critical mass of spells to make your Delver good. You have a critical mass of cheap spells to make your Grim Lavamancer good. So, I mean, it's a deck basically just fueled on drawing gas.
Check this out. I believe what's going to happen is Scott is going to play the Snapcaster Mage. It's going to get spell snared, and then Marley, if he draws a bolt, he actually has lethal through this, through the Gurmag with the Delver flip. Even without a Delver flip, he can get 3 damage.
Yeah,
through,
yeah, because the Delver will fly.
Yeah. So here we go. Thoughtseize myself.
No, I believe that looked like...
That was a Thoughtseize. I mean, sorry, Thought Scour.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's definitely not Thoughtseize.
You don't Thought Scour, you Thoughtseize yourself in this deck.
Yeah. But yeah, with that Spell Snare, it will represent... Alright, well, he missed his Delver trigger, but it looks like he knew it was
No
not
punish.
Gonna...
Yeah.
Yeah, 0 punish whatsoever.
Yeah. And the fetch lane isn't the worst app in play while you have Delver trigger.
Yeah, so essentially you get to scry. If I were Marley here...
Yeah, you just have to pass. You can't push 2 damage at the price of your Delver. Or
yeah, so I mean, I would honestly consider an attack here. Theoretically speaking, he would be blocking the Mutavault with the Gurmag Angler, and you're guaranteed pushing 2 damage over. And then your Delver flip just becomes lethal.
Right.
So
okay,
I could have respected an attack there.
And if you're in Scott's position and Marley attacks, do you block the Delver to prevent it from flipping?
No, because you definitely don't. Like you're just. Yeah, that's a good point too.
I think I'd block the Delver. That's actually why I don't like the attack.
Yeah, I can understand that. I love you, Ed. So Marley's looks like he's not going to use the Flooded Strand to scry with the Delver flip.
No, he just doesn't. He just wanted to slightly lower the odds that he hits a land.
Sure. I don't know the exact land spell count, but at least in my experience in Legacy Delver, you generally treat your... I mean, obviously you don't have to deal with shock lands in Legacy,
right.
But you generally treat your fetch lands like scries. So if you look at your top, it's not an instant or sorcery, or it's like another land, you can just flip it away.
I think that wouldn't be bad.
Never punished anyway,
Yeah,
in typical Marley fashion.
I think that the play wasn't awful, but
yeah,
it also could have been.
Yeah, if I knew the exact makeup of his deck, I would be able to.
So it looks like Scott was able to Thought Scour himself into a Fatal Push to deal with the Delver of Secrets.
Very fortunate.
We're still at a standoff, but I don't hate Marley's seat from here still. He just needs a little burn to get the job done.
Yeah, so Riemann...
Like 1 bolt, if Scott doesn't play a blocker here, 1 bolt represents lethal.
Yeah, he could also even make a cute play of, I don't know if this situation would present itself, but like bolt you, Riemann my bolt you again to get extra.
If Scott has nothing, this is lethal with the Snapcaster Bolt.
Yeah.
Attack with both, see what he blocks. Snapcaster Bolt your face prowess trigger.
Yeah, and that will be all she wrote. So he's going into combat here.
He's got a land in hand. What is his other card? It's going to need to be good.
Yeah, I mean, his hand is forced here. And even if this doesn't work out the way he wants it to, he's still fine. Because the threat on Scott's side is not a Death Shadow, he's not vulnerable to a lethal Battle Rage on the crackback. Absolutely. And it looks like the Snap Bolt will get it done. So that's game 1 to Is It Wiz It.
Is It Wiz It, getting it done. Well played by Marley.
Yeah, very, very well sequenced. If anything, I think the fetch line could have been better, but I mean, even then, you could still argue that.
So my standpoint on the issue is that it's correct to keep the fetch land there, but I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not. It honestly, in all honesty, it might be equal on because you're taking a non-instant sorcery card out of your deck. Who knows? I'm sure Frank Carson will tweet at us with the mathematics.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Please do so.
Someone get Frank Carson on the line. Love magic math.
Yeah. It really depends on so I think if I'm in Marley's seat and I need to pull the trigger, like I need to have lethal right away to not die, then I always fetch there because I'm just trying to get lucky.
Right, you're just trying. Yeah, exactly.
But in Marley's seat in that actual game, he knew he was going to have a couple turns, so I would rather set up to have better turns going forward and save the land to shuffle away another land on top or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you definitely hate the feeling of, revealing a land to your Delver trigger, and it's like, well...
having to draw it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever revealed a non-instant or sorcery with your Delver triggers before?
I haven't. Is it ever correct?
No.
Okay.
I have. Well, so sometimes it's correct to not reveal if it is an instant.
Sure, absolutely.
But I remember one time I was playing against Storm at, I believe it was... Oh, I remember. It was at the SCG Classic I top for it. I was playing against notable Moto Grinder, Control for Days. He was playing Storm.
Okay.
And I had a Delver out. I'd turn on Delver.
Yeah.
And I revealed a Null Rod. And then I cast it and smacked him with my 1/1. And I said, good luck, go ahead.
That's cute. That's
So
cute. I like
it's
that.
usually never correct to reveal, but it is a little fun sometimes. As LSV said regarding his vampire token usage in the recent Pro Tour, did you see that play?
No, I did not.
So what had happened was LSV was in the semifinals of the Pro Tour. In the deciding match, it was Game 3. He was up 2-0. He's playing a red-white mirror, and his mana is he has 3 lands and a flipped Adanto, the first fort.
Okay.
So his opponent is ordering up his attacks, and LSV has his one of Settle the Wreckage in his hand and has a lethal crackback.
Right.
So as his opponent is trying to order the blockers, LSV picks up a vampire token and he's like holding it like, okay, like I'd probably block like this because it's a totally reasonable line for him to take. And then his opponent even picked up the token himself and like started ordering things.
Yeah, right.
He's like, okay, Alpha Strike, these are my attacks, and he just like tosses the token aside, taps his mana, throws it on the table. But in his interview afterward, he said that he thought his opponent attacking all-out attacking was still the correct play, but he noted specifically in his interview that he thinks that Magic needs that flair. Magic needs a little more of the showmanship, and it's like he was very willing to be the heel in that moment, if not for a fleeting moment.
So I'm trying to find. I don't think I have the right list. Absolutely.
You're looking for Marley's list.
Was it? Yeah, I'm wondering what Marley is going to sideboard here, and what his opponent will be sideboarding. Would you like to speculate about that with me?
So I can speculate what's coming out. The Braid's definitely coming out. There's probably a lot of flex spots he's taking out. I would imagine he's bringing in more counter spells.
Sure. Just
probably
win those fights.
Yeah,
like
probably more spell pierces. Definitely some dispels.
Yeah.
I don't think any grave hate. I don't think any grave hate's in order. He probably has like a Relic of Progenitus in a sideboard or two, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it, especially because it's punishing his own Lava Man and Snapcaster Mage.
For sure.
I think a lot of modern players, like modern as the format in particular, players make this mistake where they overboard graveyard hate in matchups where they're using their graveyard, but they're not a graveyard strategy.
Right.
You really don't need to hate on their graveyards.
Well, honestly, sometimes it's correct. So I remember when I was playing Affinity over the summer at around the first SNG Invitational. When I was playing against Death Shadow, I found it correct to board in some Grave Hate only because it delays their K command or delays their Snapcaster Mage.
Sure.
It also hoses their K command. They can't regrow anything. Yeah. It makes it so that their Gurmag Anglers can't be deployed earlier. But overall, that sentiment is true that there is a lot of overboarding. Surgical Extraction, definitely the most misused card in the history of Magic.
All right, so Scott's going to be on the play. And this matchup, honestly, it seems awkward for him. Just the way it's going to play out, where he's going to have to put himself low, and Marley just has so much reach.
Yeah, that's just a typical paradigm for Death Shadow versus burn-centric aggro decks.
Yeah.
The thing with Marley's deck, though, is that he has a lot of repeatable sources of damage in his creatures.
Right.
So, like, in Burn's case, where your average damage per card is, I'd say, maybe, like... Your average damage is like 3 or 4 or something like that, accounting for lands and your burn spells. But in Marley's deck, his creatures are going to be doing repeated sources of damage.
Sure.
So
if they can get through.
Right, for sure. But like Delver's going to get through if it doesn't get killed. Delver's obviously, can't kill on sight.
Yeah. So Marley going to 6 here. I think he likes the 6 though. And Scott.
Yeah, I see lands and spells.
Yeah, that's generally a good sign.
Usually I like to keep lands and spells.
Yes.
So it's going to be a bauble. He's going to bauble himself here. Presumably a fetch land is going to follow here.
Yeah, that checks out. So good little start here from Scott.
Yeah, I put Mishra's bauble on the stack. Really good start for me.
Yeah. And he's fetching it away.
He don't like it. Don't know the rest of the contents in his hand. It's pretty marginal whether baubling you or your opponent is worth it.
I like it. If we have a fetch land, I'm always baubling.
Yeah, if we have a fetch land, but also if he's thought seizing Marley here, he could be looking at the top card of his library saying, "Oh, that's a card I need to thought seize."
Sure, so I can wait.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's basically the way to operating Death Shadow efficiently is to knowing how to manage your information.
Sure.
Like you are so honestly omnipotent in the first couple turns of the game, and you need to be able to decipher that knowledge and how to create.
Omniscient.
Sure. I think
for those of you who don't speak Latin.
Well, I mean, they're like interchangeable.
They're not.
Isn't oh no, omnipotent is
All powerful.
all powerful. Omniscience is all knowing.
Correct.
Okay, you're right. You are correct.
I took Latin for 4 years.
So I took Latin for two years. 2 years. I took Latin for 2 years.
Okay. So you're just bad.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
All right, Marley's gonna play a Lava Man here.
Yeah. So
Slam's on the table.
So the follow up for Scott was just the Serum Visions.
Yeah.
Again, you're basically working with almost perfect information. All he needs is a thought season. He should have an accurate picture of how the next couple turns of the game are gonna go. He knows what's on top of his library. He knows what's in his opponent's hand. He knows what's in his own. I hope he knows what's in his own hand.
He doesn't know what's in his opponent's hand yet.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying Thoughtseize is missing. So the fact that he fired that lightning bolt off first signals to me that he doesn't have any hand disruption.
Yeah.
I would definitely look at his hand.
Yeah, you want to do it first. Something better to kill, right?
Yeah, it looks like he just passed over. Marley's gonna go land.
Marley's hand is pretty bad. It looks like he's got 3 lands and 2 burn spells.
Yeah, I mean, when you're on a mulligan, you kind of got to take what you can get, especially in a format as dynamic as Modern, where your single cards are going to be more powerful. Just my girlfriend's texting me, humble brags.
I keep trying to find my phone and then realizing that I can see it on the camera.
Just like reaching onto the screen,
I was literally reaching in my pockets. Oh my goodness. So Marley needs to draw out of this, but luckily for him,
Scott's also kind of not doing anything.
He's not putting pressure on, but he's got that Tessiger in his hand. It's coming down. He's gonna go Faithless Looting.
That boy is thick. It is a 4/5, so that'll take 2 burn spells from Marley to handle.
That legendary rare is almost as powerful as a common zombie fish.
Yeah,
it really is good.
Well, Caracas is not in this format, so
that's fair. Here
that's a Mutavault.
That's a threat.
It is a threat.
That's all he's got.
I think I saw a Snapcaster Mage in his hand. I might be wrong.
There's nothing to Snapcast.
Yeah, I mean, he could just... Is that...
I don't know what that is. We will find out shortly.
Enhance. Faithless Looting
into Tessiger. Now, hopefully for Marley, he'll be able to remand the Tessiger. It's really
that would
effective
be
answer.
Yes, that would be a body bag, as the kids like to call it.
But we don't know what's in his hand yet.
Yeah. I would imagine some amount of remission, considering he hasn't done anything. Yeah.
So even if he doesn't, I like that he's posturing as if he has it.
Oh, of
because
course.
Scott is going to respect it. And that's one thing you can do as a blue player when you have absolutely no gas, is just to hold up your mana and act like you're deliberating over whether or not to let all their spells resolve. So at least your opponent might slow themselves down just to not walk into your counter magic, even though you never had it.
So that was a Nimble Obstructionist that Marley just flashed in on end step, it looks like. That is a bird wizard.
And what does that card do?
So it's just a 3 mana, 2/1 flash flyer, but you can also cycle it for 2 and a blue, and when you cycle it, you stifle.
Okay.
So it looks like he just flashed it in end step as a threat, and Scott's going to snap bolt it.
It is going to die. Another wizard bites the dust.
And looks like he picked up a remand.
Yeah. So that is a remand. So he will have that for a potential Tessiger. We'll see if he wants to just fire off a bolt at this. Yeah, I think he's gonna bolt this right now. And
that's a Magma Spray.
Magma Spray.
That's very interesting.
Better.
I mean, got him, I guess.
Exile it.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that if his play was bolt, I would be in favor of just taking 2 because it lessens the blow of a K command that he could just utilize for full efficiency main phase.
So this is interesting. Marley had the option of either holding up Remand or beating for 2 with his Mutavault.
Yeah.
But he sees the blood in the water. Scott's already at 8. He's got a bolt in his hand. He's like, let's just go for it. But he's gonna be sad when this.
So it's hard to know, what the threat that Scott's gonna deploy is. You also have to think that if he has 4 mana up and it looks like 8 cards in his graveyard, including a Faithless Looting.
Remand isn't gonna do all that much.
There's probably some diminishing returns on remanding a delve spell like that.
Yeah. It would have set him back some, but
for sure.
I do respect the play of just aggressively getting in there while the coast is clear, probably sensing that he might not have another opportunity.
Yeah.
And here's the Death Shadow.
I was gonna say that the reason he probably didn't want to hold Remand up is that the main threat he'd be worrying about is Death Shadow, and get that remanding that is relatively not an issue.
So Marley drawing a Snapcaster Mage that's actually really good. It's gonna allow him to block potentially and also get 2 bolts. So if he plays this just right, if he can just get 1 attack through with the Mutavault and 2 bolts to the face, he's gonna close it out.
I like just saying go here. Scott empty-handed, just has a fetch land. He's only going to attack with the single Death Shadow.
Marley's
Yeah,
just gonna take 5
you're
here.
taking that.
It's just 5. Here's
That's the Serum Visions. That'll resolve surely.
Free combat might have been better, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's whatever.
And if you have 5
It's negligible.
Yeah. He certainly is not looking to pay any more life.
Yeah.
Death Shadow's a 5/5 is plenty big.
Yeah, honestly, if he doesn't find another creature here, he is dead. Because he's
Oh
going
yeah,
to say
to the
bolt
correct
you.
back. Yeah, absolutely.
1, 2, 3, and then
I don't
he's
think he's
going
got
to
anything.
pay 2 mana for a Snapcaster Mage.
Bolt you.
Bolt you.
Activate Mutavault. You can only block 1. Die.
You're down to 2.
And we see the power of Lightning Bolt
Looks like
against
he's going to
the Death Shadow
attack
deck.
with 2 lethal attackers here. It says go to damage, and yeah, that's going to be the game.
Marley Boy Wonder.
My child.
3-0.
My
Wizards.
child. I love you, son. If you're watching this later, you watching this VOD later, I love you.
What a Magic player. Marley, for those of you who don't know, has been playing here at Redcap's Corner for the last, I want to say, 6-7 years.
Yeah, and he's 17.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, youthful Magic players are always what we want to see in the scene.
absolutely. Doing
Young-
really well. It's good to see him at
Young
the top tables.
players with lots of promise is definitely what this game needs, with ever-evolving mediums to take children's attentions away.
Right, absolutely. And like 50 different card games that they're trying to jam down your throats at all
at
times.
least he's not doing Fortnite dances in the lobby of his dorm. It could be worse.
All right, so I'm going to go and get rid of those guys and get a backup match go.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm just going to leave this on you, and you can chat to the world.
Could I have Marley in here? We could talk about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Let me get it.
get him over here.
Hey, Marley, you want to do an interview with Alex?
Yeah, get over here, son. All right, so Marley will be joining us in the booth real quick, talking about his victory over Scat. Fun fact, he doesn't actually own a Snapcaster Mages. He just got them borrowed for tonight. He didn't think he was going to play because he didn't have Snapcaster Mages, just want to ride his bike home. But someone came in clutch with them Snappy Boys, and here he is, 3-0 at Monday Night Modern. Love that kid to pieces. He's picking up his stuff right now. Oops. He should be. Marley, come here, son. Come here, son. Marley will be joining us shortly.
Yeah, when you're evolving, you come in the position that you were already in. Unless the card says otherwise.
Here he comes. Here he comes. The champion. The champion himself is on the way. Come here, little boy. I have candy.
Hello, Alex. Where's the camera view?
Camera's right there.
So I should.
There he is.
Hello.
So this is my son, Marley.
Yeah, this is my dad, Alex.
Victorious in your match against Grixis Death Shadow.
Yeah.
How do you like that matchup? Was it Wizards against Grixis Death Shadow?
Well, when the deck burns their self, it's a little helpful when they're already at 8 when I start doing things.
Yeah, we were commenting on that, how just, is doing all the work for you.
Yeah.
It's free real estate.
Yeah. And the first game, I didn't even think he saw a single Death Shadow, even with all that milling.
Yeah.
Which is a little unfortunate. But.
So now we had a question about your sideboarding. What was your thinking in keeping in cards like Abrade and Magma Spray?
Well, the reason I put in Magma Spray was I thought there was a small chance because exiling cards is slightly more useful than like in a Delve matchup than Burst Lightning because there's not really many things.
Okay.
Not Burst Lightning. What is that the kicker one? Burst Lightning.
Yeah, the one that can go face.
I took out one of my Abrades for I think I forget.
Yeah, I saw you had one Abrade in post board.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it as a hedge. You could expect Engineer Explosives potentially.
Yeah,
out
and
of that deck.
I run 3 in the main board.
Yeah.
It's just another kill spell as well.
Right. Well, the question is, what are you killing?
What am I killing?
Yeah.
Snaps.
Yeah, like to be super
Snaps
blunt, you got fortunate that the Snapcaster Mage was there.
Yeah, snaps and also things that like I'm not very good at Modern. I don't know the metagame
Oh, that's
super well. I'm
understandable.
new to the format as well. Snaps and also just it makes my Soul Scar better.
Yeah.
Just having damage.
Sure.
Because it allows me to kill anglers and
For sure.
like win the trade or just win the
Well, while you're 3-0 in Modern, you're looking to close out the last victory, get that, secure the bag, as the kids say.
yeah, secure the bag.
Good luck, Marley. Dinner's at 10 tonight, so make sure you're home on time.
Okay, Dad.
All right. Goodbye, son.
See you, Dad.
Congratulations again. If you do not win next round, you don't eat supper.
Okay. I'll scavenge. See you, Alex.
Goodbye. And with that, we're going to have a backup match coming up soon. Let me I spy with my little eye.
So if they have active looks like
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Gohan and deck decision have four.
We know what the matchup is.
Yep. He comes up with 3.
All right.
I'm gonna actually tell them they can start.
Okay.
You guys can start whenever you're ready. Okay.
Literally right now he can kill. He knows that.
Got this beautiful, beautiful face in the middle of the table staring at us. Yeah, I agree, Mitchell. A card like Roast is probably good in the sideboard. He might have it in the sideboard. He might have just not drawn. I didn't ask him about his full sideboard configuration.
All right. So on the left we have David.
Hello, David.
He is playing Jund.
I thought Jund was canceled.
Jund was
I
canceled.
thought Jund was canceled.
And on the right we have Mark, who's
Hello, Mark.
playing Bant Spirits.
Mark Yeaterson.
Wizards.
Bant Spirits, a.k.a. not Merfolk.
Right. We were just talking about this.
I'm sorry, Taylor. Don't play Merfolk. That's an order.
Jund. Apparently Jund is not canceled.
So
People will always play this deck, right?
So me and Brian Rogers were talking before the tournament, and we both proudly proclaimed that Jund is canceled.
Okay.
It's just
This is game 3, and this is also in the 2-0 bracket.
okay. So these are very powerful mages here.
These are powerful mages, and this Jund player with amazing tattoos, he's doing it live despite it having been canceled.
Well, so I mean, against a creature-esque tribal deck, your Jund cards are going to do very well.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of that happening.
when you play
here in the
against
metagame.
KCI, it doesn't matter if you 2-for-1 them on turn 3 because you're dead.
Sure.
you die.
Right. So that is the gamble. We see David mulliganing here, but that's the gamble you take when you play Jund.
Yeah.
It's like, am I gonna fight the 5th of Redcap's players playing
Right.
combo decks, or the 5th of the players playing tribal decks?
Right. Obviously, as a whole, Jund is not canceled, but
Right.
when you think about a Grand Prix meta or large tournament metas where you're playing 10 to 15 rounds,
You're gonna run into unwinnables.
yeah, chances are you're going to be running into some unwinnable matchups, and if the percentage of the field in a large tournament is going to be mostly fast combo, Jund is certainly canceled. But at your local store, such as, Redcap's Monday Night
4
Modern,
rounds.
yeah, I mean, there could
Yeah.
be very real chance that David played against, as Garrett would put it, fair decks all
Right.
day.
It's true. But yeah, those matchups, they do remind me of that. Remember the Eggs final when Stan Sifka against, was it
Yep.
Yuya Watanabe in
think
the
so,
finals?
yeah.
And Yuya was counting his mana in Storm for him because he was so
Yeah, he
bored
was
because
just
he
like-
didn't get to do anything. That was pretty amazing.
I remember I think at an SCG event, someone had wrote F6 out on a piece of paper. I'm just like, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so I believe that Mark is on the play.
Yeah, I believe he kept a 6.
Mark kept 7. And
Yeah, Mark kept 7. David kept
David
a
is
6.
currently in the tank about whether or not to keep this 6.
I see lands. I see spells.
I believe it is
I don't-
1
I
fatal
don't-
push and 5 lands.
Oh, you are correct.
Yes.
He
He's
says I like these cards.
I think it's correct. It's a little bit brutal. We need
Yeah.
to not draw lands.
I mean, he's gonna have proper agriculture, which is nice. But
Here we have a Mausoleum Wanderer already out of the gates on turn 1, and this is a 1/1
It
Curse
is-
Catcher that also
that
gets
also
+1/+1
grows.
when,
Yes. This
until end
is-
of turn when you play a Spirit.
I am very much in the camp of using my Fatal Push on this Mausoleum Wanderer now.
Okay.
It may not look like a lot now, but especially when he's trying to cast his David will be trying to cast his not clunkier, but bigger 2-for-1s.
Sure.
Being only to cast one spell a turn and facing down a curse catcher that is also like a 4/4 is not great.
Okay. So you're saying we should just fatal push it now?
Yeah,
so that
I'm fine with
we
taking.
can use our more expensive spells.
Yeah, I'm fine
later.
with taking one here.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely murdering this man post haste.
I do really like the restraint here, not just doing it in combat. Give your opponent an opportunity to play something more threatening in their second main and try to kill that.
Though, admittedly, I can't think of a 2-mana Lord out of the Spirits deck. Supreme Phantom, you might kill Supreme Phantom.
Also, admittedly, if it is something that we want to protect in favor over our Mausoleum Wanderer, then we can just sacrifice our Mausoleum Wanderer to counter the Fatal Push anyway.
And let you decide.
Yeah, it looks like the reason he didn't pull the trigger on the Fatal Push is just because he wants to go fetch his green source right away.
Which is fine. I mean,
fine.
Ultimately, 1 is not a lot. I could see him wanting to fetch a black source to kill a Supreme Phantom. I believe you still need to pay a mana activation on Mausoleum Wanderer. I believe it's just 1, I think.
Do you have Tarmo dice?
I do have Tarmo dice, actually. I got him.
Alright. So yeah, this Tarmogoyf, a little lowly 2-mana 1/2. It's a Squire right now, but it'll do some growing here. And I believe he sequenced his lands just so he could get the green source out so that he could feel free to play Blackleaf Cliffs untapped for the next 2 turns. It's going to develop his mana better. Look at that, fancy Tarmogoyf dice. So the 3-mana plays are the real power spike for the Spirits deck.
Yes.
You expect a Captain here to come down or a Queller to be held up.
Yeah, if your Bant Spirits opponent passes with 3 mana up, it's like, alright, what's going on here, big guy?
Right. They are trying to quell you.
Some would argue that a deck that telegraphs its plays like that, it might be fundamentally weak, but when it's Spell Queller, it's not only a threat, it's also a counter spell, and it's like a potent threat too. It's not like a Coiling Oracle or anything.
We have the other powerhouse 3-drop, and the only creature who is not a spirit, it's Reflector Mage.
Correct. Banned in Standard, it was so good.
It is very, very good.
But this also does say a lot about David's hand. I mean, the Goyf was not a very pressing threat on the ground.
True. He would have rather played a Drogskull.
He would have definitely played a Drogskull Captain, or even any other like 2-mana Lord, or really anything else.
Sure. Well, they don't have 2-mana Lords, right? They just have Phantasmal Image.
Yeah, they have Supreme Phantom.
Supreme Phantom, right? That's from the core set, right?
Yes, it's from core set 19. I'm very fond of that card because it says Supreme in the title.
Okay, of course. And it is I believe it's a 2-mana 1/3.
It's a 2-mana 1/3
that gives your other spirits.
Other spirits get 1/1. Yeah, very simple, very clean.
All right, so we're just passing with Fatal Push now.
Yeah.
David, he's unable to play his Tarmogoyf again, of
Correct.
course, because Reflector Mage says no.
Yes, Reflector Mage says no. Also, partially why it was banned in Standard. It's kind of awkward remembering, caused a lot of headaches. Remembering in judge calls when the trigger was put on the stack, if they played it illegally accidentally.
Right.
On top of it being slightly oppressive in the blue-white deck.
Yeah. Very powerful here. Just another Mausoleum Wanderer.
I'm sorry, the Bant deck at the time, not the blue-white deck.
Sure.
Yeah. So just want to double check on Mausoleum Wanderer.
Okay.
Wanderer.
Yeah, let's get that on screen.
M-A-U.
I got you. It is until end of turn, I believe.
Yes, so you do not have to pay mana. That is correct.
Right.
Okay.
You just sacrifice it. I'm going to put it up on the screen for everyone. So here's the Drogskull Captain. It is a 2/2 flying, gives your spirits +1/+1, and it has Hexproof. No, it doesn't have Hexproof.
It gives your other spirits Hexproof. So having 2 Drogskull Captains is the nut high.
Yeah, so we remember that if anyone was watching that Standard Pro Tour when Innistrad and was it Dark Ascension?
I believe so.
Pro Tour Dark Ascension, Finkel in the maybe the semifinals.
Love Johnny Magic.
He's one of the greats, not the greatest.
So this is a problem here. This Fatal Push is not going to do squat on top of Mark having 2 Mausoleum Wanderers. He does not have Revolt trigger.
The Fatal Push, that's right. And the Mausoleum Wanderers can sacrifice that. it was a 3/3 in the air last turn. So even if he had
Yeah.
the ability to try to kill the Drugstore Captain, the spell could have just been countered.
Honestly, if I was David, I'm a fan of putting Fatal Push on the stack, targeting a Mausoleum Wanderer while his Drogskrull Captain is on the stack. I don't know his full deck list, but presumably a 4-mana Wrath is one of his outs here, and
Right.
having multiple Mausoleum Wanderers means multiple boys you got to go through.
Yeah. So I think now his plan is to just get Revolt on his turn and Fatal Push the Drugstore Wanderer.
Yeah.
And then I believe he also has Captain, right? And then I believe he also has a Lightning Bolt for one of the Mausoleum Wanderers.
Yeah.
And they're just 2/2s, so technically he could sacrifice both Wanderers to counter the...
He could, but that would also effectively, that's not the best use of his time.
No,
You're essentially
I don't think so.
You're essentially 2 for 1ing yourself, because at this
Yeah.
point, these Mausoleum Wanderers are threats and not just utility creatures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time you kill the bad card, you read it. That's not
Yeah, he's going to let that
Yeah,
happen.
that's
He
definitely
agrees with
certainly
your
going to let that
analysis.
happen.
What else? Might just replay that Tarmogoyf. Looks like he will. And now it's bigger. It's we've got creature instant as well.
Yeah, so
it's
I'm a
3/4.
fan of bolting on my turn. My opponent, if I was in David's seat, my Spirit's opponent has not postured as if he drew.
Oh, there it is.
My Spirit's opponent is not posturing as if he drew a Spell Queller.
Right.
But again, these
6 in the
Mausoleum
air going
Wanderers.
to 4.
Yeah, 6 in the air is not great. Also, these Mausoleum Wanderers just hamper any hope he has of sweeping the board off.
I may have been wrong about that Lightning Bolt. That is a Swamp, and it's not going to do it. Nope, just lands and a Bloodbraid Elf. And that's game 3.
That is game 3, so yeah, that's going to be the match in favor of Mark Geterson.
Yeah, and you can see that if the Jund deck just draws lands like he did, he kept that 5-lane hand on 6. And if you don't have a removal spell for the captains, they do work.
So that was not a lightning bolt in his
That was
hand?
not. I believe it was not.
Oh, okay, then yeah, so that'll definitely...
He's got some old school mountains that look like bolts. All right, so now we're going to kick it to a brief break as we wait for the next round.
Yeah, I'm going to go claim my Tarmogoyf deck, because that thing was $8.
Or what?
That
Oh,
die
the die.
That die was $8. I want it back.
I am going to put up some text to indicate when the final round will start, so you guys know when to tune back in, and I will see you then.
Lillian Bender in chat. Nice. Is this a new stream? Yeah, so we are getting our Monday Night Modern streamed on Twitch. Garrett is back in the booth, and he's running this John. Sorry, give me one moment. My magic. Yeah, so we're going to be streaming Monday Night Modern for the foreseeable future, and going to start branching off into Legacy as well. So that'll be fun. Definitely in the cards to be streaming FNM as well. But yeah, so as it says on the screen, round 4 is going to start at about 9:10 Eastern Standard Time, and we will see you guys then. We're going to take a short break here. Alright. What's up, everyone? Let me pull the chat back on my phone.
Pull the chat back.
I'm letting my girlfriend know I'm streaming. I'm like, hey, I can't talk right now.
Alright, we've got another match. Round 4, final match.
It's going to be between my good friend Ethan Gajewski, notable silver professional player, and our good friend Redcap's regular. His name is Pete. He's affectionately known as Chops.
Is he?
Yeah, because he has mutton chops.
Okay. Well, let's just call him Pete for now.
We'll call him Pete, but
Okay.
know that this is not a disparaging nickname.
Do we know that?
It is, actually. I was talking to him,
Yeah.
and I was like, Pete, why do they call you Chops? And he's like, well, my
have these sick
dad
mutton
was a
chops.
woodcutter, and my mom had axes for legs. And that is honest to goodness what he told me. And I'm like,
right.
sick. He's in on the meme.
Nice.
I don't
All
have
right.
to feel bad. I can call him Chops to his face and not behind his back.
That's hilarious. Axes for feet, huh? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, no, axes for legs.
Oh, for legs. I'm not on that level yet.
That's probably why his dad married his mom, because if his dad's a woodcutter and his mom has axes for legs, and that's probably just a match made in heaven right there.
Clearly.
So Ethan's going to be playing the old Hollow Boys,
Hello, boys.
and Pete's going to be playing Grixis Delver, a deck that was more popular in Legacy back when Deathray Shaman was legal. Sure.
Yo, let me tell you about this card, though, okay?
Okay,
Let me tell you about Goblin Lore from
okay.
Portal.
So tell me about Goblin Lore
That
from
is
Portal.
such a busted magic
What
card.
does that card do?
That I cannot believe this card is in Modern. It says, draw 4 cards.
4.
For 2 mana.
So you're telling me I get to draw 4 cards for 2 mana points.
But wait, it gets even better.
It gets
'cause you
even better.
also get to randomly discard 3 cards.
But
for your
isn't
hand.
that a bad thing?
Oh no, it is so good.
I don't believe you.
Let's find out. And this is a classic unfair deck versus fair deck matchup. Fortunately for Pete, he does have disruption. He's got Thoughtseize, he's got removal,
Yeah.
he's got counter magic. And he can put pressure on, and that's what we were talking
That is-
about.
that is what
the
matters
key
most.
to beating combo decks with fair decks is not just having answers, having hate, but also putting pressure on them
Yeah.
while you have the hate.
In classic Delver fashion, if you play a turn 1 Delver and then start protecting it and disrupting your opponent, you're bolting your opponent every turn in addition to doing meaningful things.
Exactly.
Casting meaningful spells. Looks like we have a little snafu on the land first, but it looks
He made up his mind. He made a
I'm
little. I'm gonna give them my life.
Yeah, that'll help. He made a little oopsie, but that's okay. It's gonna be a Steam Vents fetched off of a Scalding Tarn here. Into a Faithless Looting, aka the Brainstorm of Modern.
It's interesting that even this fair deck is playing that card. It is an off-meta choice. I was talking to Pete about it.
Yeah.
I think it's bad. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I think it's probably bad too, but Faithless Looting is also just really good in the abstract.
Yeah, I think it's just good enough.
Yeah.
I think Thought Scour would be better.
Yeah, it depends on if he's just trying to like power out Delve threats, Thought Scour is probably better. But if he has cards like Main Deck Snapcaster Mage, other cards that are potentially useful in the graveyard, cards with flashback that aren't just other Faithless Lootings. Because the problem with Faithless Looting is if you're drawing 2 cards and discarding 2 cards, you're net negative on cards because you spent a card to cast it.
Exactly.
But if one of the cards you discard can be cast out of the graveyard, you've essentially drawn that card.
Right. But importantly, Pete's cards can't be. Most of them can't be.
Correct. So it looks like he discarded a Delver.
He sure did.
And a land. Interesting choice.
Yeah. That leads me to believe that it's possible that his Faithless Looting drew into Delver.
I think that's got to be the only way, and even then, I'm probably not discarding my Delver. I am a
interesting.
lifelong Delver player, and
You want that card. It turns
if
out.
I see an island of any shape or form in my hand and a Delver, I'm putting it on the stack usually turn 1.
I imagine he didn't have the option to play it on turn
Yeah.
1.
So Ethan here has an insane start.
Yeah, look at all this stuff in his graveyard already.
Of double, so it would have been better followed up with a hollow one. But I mean, Faithless Looting discarding 2 Bloodghast, as I said before, he may be net down cards in his hand, but those 2 Bloodghasts in the graveyard,
they're free.
he essentially just drew 2 cards. It's like Pot of Greed.
He drew 2 cards and also generated 4 mana because he's going to be able to cast those Bloodghasts, effectively cast them without paying for them.
Yeah, this is why these decks are so theoretically good as well, because you're gaining resources at a faster rate than any other deck can compete with.
The graveyard is the most busted zone in Magic.
Okay, so maybe that's why you put a Delver in the graveyard. It's like it
Look
doesn't any 2 cards will do essentially.
And we're not playing Legacy. Your Delvers aren't always flipping on turn 2.
It is true that your Delvers aren't always flipping, but
they're usually not 50. It's almost a 50-50, but not quite, right?
I would have to know the exact makeup of his hand. Him casting a turn 2 Gurmag Angler definitely means that casting a turn 1 Faithless Looting is better.
Yeah.
But I would generally favor, especially in this matchup, where the ground is going to definitely be clogged up with a lot of. I mean, the Bloodghast can't block, so that doesn't really matter. But definitely, Hollow Ones are going to get spit out. Rival Gurmag Anglers are going to get spit out. I would much rather have flying threats to put a clock on.
I think so. I have to assume that he didn't have that Delver until he cast the Faithless Looting. But we do see him getting punished for playing Faithless Looting rather than Thought Scour, because he ended up having to delve away the Faithless Looting anyway.
Right.
So he basically just didn't draw the card that the Thought Scour would have.
Exactly. And also with Faithless Looting having flashback, you essentially quote-unquote draw a card and putting the flashback card in your graveyard.
Here we go for fun times. We have
So
Goblin
here's a
Lore
Goblin
on the
Lore.
stack. Drawing 4 cards, now he's going to discard 3 at random. And he wants to not discard his Burning Inquiry, which is going to make both players draw 3 and then discard 3 at random.
Yeah, so that's 3
He's
cards.
like,
Yeah,
wait,
how
what?
many? No, yeah, it's only 3. Yeah, those 3 right there. So, oh my god.
gosh.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
He does hit the Gurmag, but he does have 2 Flamewake Phoenix.
I mean, that's A-okay in my
So
book.
Flamewake Phoenix says at the beginning of upkeep, if you control
beginning
a
of your
creature,
combat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you control a creature with 4 or more power,
You may pay 1 red.
1 red and return it, and it's a Chandra's Phoenix. It's a
Caw.
2/2 flying.
Yes, flying haste.
Yes.
So that was essentially pretty much nut high.
Yeah, that was good. But he does need a 4. What I'm getting at is he doesn't have Ferocious yet. These Bloodghasts
Correct.
aren't doing it. So he's going to need to fight a Hollow One or a Gurmag, and he did discard his Gurmag.
Yeah,
so even though discarding the Flamewakes was good, he also discarded his Ferocious Enabler.
Okay, so discarding his Street Wraith here, that was mostly a calculated move on wanting to draw into potentially something to do, like a Hollow One.
Hollow One, right?
Yeah.
That would be the thing that he's trying to draw into specifically. Alright, Pete going to his turn. Thinking about what to do here. It's tricky. He needs to navigate this carefully, especially in game 1.
Yeah, so
in
I mean,
game 2, he's going to get to board in his Graveyard Hate, and the matchup's going to get a little easier.
Yeah.
These graveyard decks tend to win game 1s. That's just how it goes.
Right.
The graveyard interactions are so powerful that you see it mostly in Vintage, but it's sort of mirrored in a lot of different formats where you expect to lose game 1 against these decks and then just hope that all of your answers from your sideboard will be able to shut them down. Here we have Young Pyromancer.
So Young Pyromancer is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Ethan has 3 copies of Lightning Bolt in his hand.
He does.
I'm a big fan of bolting this Pyromancer
You gotta bolt
now.
it. Yeah.
Especially because if he presumably Pete's gonna follow this up with a Lightning Bolt of his own to trigger his Young Pyromancer to get a token out of it. I'd want a Lightning Bolt before I do anything else here. So
here's the thing though: if Ethan has another red source,
Yeah.
he could potentially attack with both Bloodghasts.
Correct.
And then bolt for 13
Yeah.
damage.
Well,
so
it
I
looks-
think because he didn't have another red source, he decided to bolt before combat. But if he had 3 red, I would try to get him not to block and then just go
Yeah.
9 to the face.
Looks like he does have another red source
Oh, he
in
does.
hand, but I think that's generally the better play. You have to think that
No, he doesn't have 3 bolts. It's a Burning Inquiry, right?
yeah. No, he still has 2 bolts in hand.
No, he's got
Oh
one
no, he's
bolt.
1 more bolt. Okay,
If
my
I
apologies.
guarantee you, if he had another bolt, the right play would be to go for lethal there.
Yeah.
It's just a Burning Inquiry.
I think though is still correct because you have to think that if you're playing a Young Pyromancer, you're holding up 1 mana. You have to respect what it's worth. If you're going
Sure.
to combat, that's going to represent killing 1 guy, making a token, blocking another.
Sure, but then you just get them back again.
Right, but so doing it pre-combat, it forces Pete's hand to bolt preemptively, and then you play your land drop and just get your Bloodghast
Yeah,
back.
that's fair. They do not have haste yet.
Right, but you'd still be playing that way.
Right.
Like that's just the line he'd be taking anyway.
Sure. I mean, unless he had the 3rd bolt. I mean,
Correct,
Then
yeah,
you go
yeah.
for lethal.
So what did he discard? It
But I
looks
do like
like
the Bowler guy here.
Looks like he discarded a Faithless Looting and 2 black cards. It looks those aren't Street Wraiths. Oh no, I think those are Street Wraiths.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
Yeah,
he just has different.
He has Modern Mastered Street Wraiths.
Mismatched Street Wraiths. Get out of here, Ethan.
Unacceptable. Leave my game, please.
Pete, Serum Visions, and he can make it happen. He needs his opponent not to be able to play a Ferocious Creature and get his Flamewake Phoenixes back.
I mean, if Pete has a Bolt here, he can just win the game. He's dead, yeah
absolutely.
So that is something to consider.
Let's see it. We don't know his hand. This combat step is going to tell us a lot, right?
Yeah.
If he decides to make this attack. But if you don't attack here, I just don't see you winning this game.
Yeah, I think if I'm Pete, I'm definitely attacking here. Ethan needs to conjure up a threat that triggers Ferocious,
That's right.
and that essentially will win him the game.
Right.
But even if Pete doesn't attack and Ethan can bring Ferocious to get his Flaming Phoenixes back, he's still taking 6 going down to 2, and he doesn't have an attack the next turn either.
Right, he's taking 5 going down to 3.
Yeah.
Right. But
he'd be taking 6 going down to 2 because he'd have 2 Flaming Phoenixes in the air and 1 Blood Gas that gets through if he leaves his Gurmag back.
Oh, you're saying Pete would go.
Yeah. So I'm saying so I think an attack here is definitely in order. It's really the only way he's going to be able to win this game.
Interestingly, if Pete almost fetched there, if he decides to fetch, then he goes to 7, and then the double bolt and 2 blood gas are going to be lethal. So that is scary.
So now Ethan's asking, well, do you have it?
I can't imagine he has it.
Yeah,
don't you just slam?
There's no way you slow roll here, unless you're Pete, and that's
he might think he's playing around. I mean, it's possible that we're not considering something that he'd be playing around, but if you have a threat or a blocker, you play it.
Okay, it's a blocker.
Nice. Yep, I like the attack. I like the line from Pete. I like not fetching here as well, just preserving his life total as much as possible.
Yeah. So the question is, what does Ethan do with the Bolt in his hand now? Because mana may potentially be a constraint next turn, and I think he's going to fire this Bolt upstairs.
Just to do the mana preemptively, I like it. That way he can flashback his face.
Yeah. So basically, he's going to need to make the most use out of his mana, and it's likely that this Bolt is going face anyway.
Absolutely.
So I'm a fan of getting it out of the way now and freeing up my mana next turn.
I mean, it's 100% going face, right? Because these threats are representing lethal next turn no matter what,
right.
So you have to kill him.
Right. So this bolt puts him to 5, and then any ferocious enabler will.
Oh
no! What's happening here?
He is fetching here.
Does he have a?
And Ethan is a 2.
A dispel.
Spell Pierce.
Wow. Okay, that works.
And bear in mind, everyone, Ethan is actually at 2 from fetching that mountain.
Yes.
He's not at 3. If that becomes relevant, I will go.
Yeah.
Make the
okay.
place.
Well, looks like Ethan has 4
top
lands
deck
in
the
hand.
land.
He will flash back the Faithless Looting.
Here it goes. He needs.
I don't really even know what he can find here.
He can find Hollow One, right?
That's a Flameblade Adept, and he's just dead.
That's
it. He's gonna concede.
He takes game 1. Good game.
Yeah, very unfortunate drawing a lot of lands. That is very uncharacteristic of the deck that cycles a lot. You have a lot of control over your draw steps.
That's one of the things about random discards, though. Is sometimes you get punished. And Pete navigated that game really well.
Yeah, he did pretty well for himself.
He had a lot of opportunities to misplay and lose the game, and he recognized that he needed to put his pedal to the metal as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
He went for that turn 2 Gurmag Angler.
Right, yeah.
And then he attacked with it 4 times and won the game.
Yeah, so I mean that's another thing where
definitely paid off.
Even if that Delver had flipped turn 1, that's so you're attacking for 3 on turn 2 and then 3 on turn 3. If you're playing Gurmag Angler on turn 2, you're attacking for 5 on turn 3.
Right,
so you're minus 1 damage initially, but over time you're going to be doing more damage.
It was actually the most aggressive line, and it paid off for him not playing the turn 1 Delver. Really interesting.
I don't know what he could have discarded alternatively to the Delver, but definitely playing the turn 2 Gurmag Angler was definitely the correct line.
Yeah. And it really paid off for him, resisting the temptation, understanding the limitation of the card Delver of Secrets in Modern. Yeah. This isn't Legacy. We don't. That just is true.
Yeah, this Delver is not a very commonly played card in Modern for the reasons you're describing. In Legacy, you have cards like Brainstorm and Ponder, and more so, you're just more threat light in Legacy. You're only in Rug Delver, you're playing 12 creatures max.
Right, absolutely.
So like your Delvers are flipping more, and the format is distilled to such a essence that that one Delver will go the distance.
Right.
Where in Modern, you have lots of big, dumb, ugly things that will stand in the way.
Yeah.
You're not really
True.
used to in Legacy.
Yeah.
Like Flame Wake Phoenixes.
Jesus.
That will block a Delver of Secrets.
Sure will.
So we're sideboarding here.
Yeah, what are we sideboarding?
So I know for a fact that Ethan doesn't have Leyline of the Void. Not that it would necessarily come into this matchup, but that his Leyline of the Voids are in the possession of one Clark Dumlauskis, a fellow Redcaps player, whose flight home from Chicago got canceled. So
Rough. That happens
so
sometimes.
so Ethan does not
Make
have
those decisions.
Ethan does not have Leyline of the Void. I don't think it would bring it in this matchup. It's something
I
to
wouldn't.
think about in that it poses delve cards, but it's really for the mirror.
It's an overboard.
Yeah, I could definitely see him bring in Thought Seizes. Definitely see him bring in Hand Disruption of any kind. I'm not sure if Hollow One plays Lightning Axe. I don't think it does. I know some decks do.
Some
Like
lists do. The new Arclight Phoenix builds
Yeah.
play it.
I've seen those as well.
Yeah. And what about Pete? I imagine surgical extractions are coming.
Yeah, so Pete's definitely bringing in his Grave Hate. His Grave Hate of choice will probably be Surgical Extraction.
would
I
have
can't
to say
imagine
so,
he'd
right?
be playing Leyline of the Void.
Or Relic.
Yeah, Relic is acceptable. I mean, it cantrips.
Sure. It does hurt you a little bit, but you can just tap it rather than
Right.
drop it right
I
away.
think it's going to be. I think in Pete's seat, I would rather have Relic than Surgical because Grixis Delver again is very Delver in this form. It's very different from its Legacy counterpart. The way Grixis Delver operates in this form, it's more of like a mid-range control deck.
Right.
Because like you're still playing threats. I mean, it's basically Grixis Death Shadow, and instead of Death Shadow, you're playing Delver.
Right.
So you're playing a threat that you can deploy earlier, at the cost of less power.
Right, but you also don't need to put yourself dead to.
Right,
Right,
exactly. So
yeah.
you're still playing powerful kill spells. You're still playing Snapcaster Mage. You're still playing efficient threats.
Right. But you're playing some heavier spells, is what you're saying.
Right, exactly. So the
Tassikers.
so you're gonna be wanting, and also I guess Surgical and Relic both can operate one-sided. Like you can.
You can tap the Relic, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Surgical plays nice with Snapcaster Mage and Relic
Yeah,
doesn't.
for sure.
So.
Surgical also, it's not a deck like Dredge where Dredge is just putting everything in the graveyard. There are very specific cards in the Hollow One deck you want to take out, namely Bloodghast, Flame Wake Phoenix.
Flame Wake Phoenix.
You don't
Faithless Looting
Yeah,
sometimes.
you don't even really Surgical the Hollow Ones that often because
Right.
it's like that card's just being cast from your hand. That's not the one that matters.
This is the third time that I've had Black-Red discard on the stream.
Yeah.
And I have yet to see a Hollow One in a hand or on the battlefield. Or even in the
Cursed.
graveyard. Just always all four on the bottom, and yet
He's
again,
cursed.
just never see him.
So this is a pretty good start for Ethan here.
Cycler Wraith?
Yeah, Cycling Sherbeth always a recipe for success.
Fetching Mesa.
Probably fetching a Blood Crypt here. I think it's
Just
actually
basic
I think
mountain.
the Blood Crypt's actually in his hand already,
Yeah.
so no
just
need
needs that
to
mountain.
shock here.
Absolutely.
And I think a Faithless Looting is in our future here.
It's a good turn one for the deck.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, if he finds any Hollow Ones here that are going to be
Yep.
deployed, he's definitely putting this Flame Wake Phoenix in the graveyard that's in his hand.
No Hollow One, just land. It stings.
So yeah, I mean, definitely just putting two Flame Wake Phoenixes. Go.
He does have the Burning Inquiry for next turn, so that
Yeah.
can improve his hand sometimes and sometimes make it worse.
Yeah. Yikes.
Oh gosh.
Goodbye.
Ethan is sad. Look at that. It just flips his hand onto the table.
Yeah, that's the reaction I would have. So
Sure.
now his Flame Wake Phoenixes are removed from the game.
Yep.
He cannot get them back.
He cannot. And Pete gets to look at, importantly, the kind of cards that were sideboarded in and knows
Yeah.
what to play around. So this is a lot of really great information here.
Yeah,
And
so
he should take his time here looking for those sideboard cards and taking mental note of them. If there are any, I don't know if there's anything
I
particularly
mean,
relevant in
if
this matchup
if
for
there's
him.
one thing that's working in Ethan's favor here, it's that essentially Pete has spent a card to do nothing, right?
That's
like
true.
he's although having Flame Wake Phoenixes in the graveyard is very key to the Hollow One strategy.
Yeah.
It looks like he's showing the 75 off, showing the 60
Okay.
off.
You see the Nile spell bombs.
I do
being
see the
boarded
Nile
in.
spell. Yeah, so that is a form of Grave Hate that he's playing.
I like it because it cantrips.
Yeah, it does
so
cantrip.
It's free and it's one-sided, so
Yeah.
it's a good choice. That's another thing that Pete potentially could
Yeah,
play.
but what I was getting at with the Flame of Phoenix is although they are paramount to the strategy, Ethan did not have to sink any resources into deploying them yet. So essentially Pete is down a card. Although it's, that's the only silver lining. Obviously, I would want to have Flaming Phoenixes in my deck if I'm playing Hollow One.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is he can still very much win the game without it.
Right.
Albeit it's a bit harder. So here's just the fetch into a Steam Vents.
Well, the real brutality of it is not just that the Flamewing Phoenixes are gone, it's that now we have a surgical extraction in our graveyard and we can snapcast it again.
Right, yeah, that's definitely a threat that Ethan's going to be worried about. But, I mean, when you're playing a deck like Hollow One, there are very few scenarios where you can afford to play around Grave Hate. Like, you can't even necessarily hedge, like, I'll put one Flamewing Phoenix in my hand, one in the graveyard off that Faithless Loading, because the surgical's going to take it anyway.
Right. Oh, there is the...
Hollow One's a good draw.
He needs to not discard it to this Burning Inquiry, so we'll see.
I would
believe
imagine
that will be the play.
I would imagine he probably plays... I'm trying to think if it's correct for him to Inquiry or...
I think it is. You don't even play a land
Goblin
first.
Lore.
I think you just go... Oh, Lore is interesting, too.
Yeah, so he does have Lore and Inquiry in hand.
I like the Inquiry costs less mana. I think if you have given the choice, you generally want to Inquiry over
Yeah,
Lore.
I agree. Also, you want to do it before you hit this land drop, because he has, I think,
He has enough
three-
land.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't want to discard his spells. He wants to discard lands.
Did not see what the cards picked up, but in true Hollow One fashion, you shouldn't look at the cards you draw that you're about to discard randomly. It doesn't matter. When you're playing on Moto, it just does it immediately. It's just Thanos snap the fingers. It's in the graveyard. 1,
Land?
2. That's 2 lands and
Okay.
Serum Visions. All right.
That's a weird way to win a game. That sometimes happens with Burning Inquiry.
All
Where your
right,
opponent, you
so
just
we've turned
randomly
over
kill
1
your
land,
opponents.
2 lands,
Oh, gosh.
and 3 lands.
3
So
lands.
that was pretty good, all things considered.
He does have another mountain in his hand, so I guess he'll take it.
Ooh, 2 of these.
Ethan just being totally flippant at this point. Slow claps.
I can hear the clap from the booth.
The slow claps from Pete. Excellent.
He said, you can taste both of these. All right, so now the question is, what is Pete going to do here?
Does he have removal? Do you bring in artifact removal for
I would,
this?
yes. Back when I used to play Modern heavily, I played Affinity, I would bring in Vandal Blast against Hollow One.
Okay.
Having essentially Flame Slash in your deck is very serviceable.
Sure. I could see a Braid also being good.
Yeah,
He
Braid.
doesn't have any of that, though.
A Braid is probably somewhere in his 75.
Yeah. Pete trying to resolve Brainstorm, realizing it's just Serum Visions.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad.
New Blucker top decker that is notable boy Ethan Gaiski.
It's Gajewski, come on.
It's both. It's actually both.
Okay.
I've heard it pronounced both.
I've heard it both ways. So this is a rough spot for Pete. He's at 13. He's staring down 8 damage on turn 2. He needs a removal spell.
Yeah,
For 1 red.
not
which
looking
he
great.
doesn't have.
Not looking great.
He's got Faithless Looting, which he will cast.
And yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, getting your Flamewing Phoenix's Surgical is pretty backbreaking. But, he's still winning this game regardless. And even if he didn't find the second Hollow One off of the
it would still be
Burning
a fast
3,
clock.
yeah, he's still got a free 4/4, which is really good.
And Pete isn't dead if he can remove 1 of these.
That is true.
So he could K-Command.
That's
Delver
a Delver.
to block.
That is a blocker.
Sure. That's something.
That's another blocker. Okay. The gentlemen have been deployed.
It's not a good answer.
I think Pete is firmly in the abyss now. Wait.
Yeah, he's
Okay, he's just gonna
Faithless Looting last.
So so slightly unoptimal,
Sure,
but that's
sure.
okay. Maybe this is a sign that he doesn't have any outs in his deck, and he's just
Yeah, this is the tilt.
He's-
the,
he's,
the tilt loot. And again, it should have been Thoughtscour, but here we are. Yep, the Abyss.
So,
we
yeah,
only blocked 1, right?
yeah,
Go to 1.
yeah. I mean,
Real magic. Go to 1 here.
I don't mind blocking with these. Just pretty dire straits here.
This gives him the out of like untapped Shockland Damnation, your guys.
Yeah, sure. If that's even in his range.
And Ethan has a bolt as well, so
If
he went to 1, he would.
I'd also like to add that Ethan and Pete do know each other, so all this showmanship is not bad mannered. They're putting on a show for you guys. And
the draw for turn doesn't matter.
it does not matter. He is going to play this Nihil Spellbomb though, just for posterity's sake.
To force out the Snapcaster Mage before blocks, perhaps.
Right? Yeah.
And yeah, now Pete has to do it if he's got it. Snappy, Casty.
I mean, there's nothing to really even target.
Spell Piercer, Bolt. Just target Spell
I don't even think
Pierce.
there's a bolt. I think those are just...
Yeah.
Okay, goodbye.
Bolt that kill you. All right, and we have a game 3. I think this is the first match.
Yeah,
that we had to
full-
go to game 3.
Full match.
Excellent. And the power of Hollow on hitting the board, 8 power on turn 2. It's a
Yeah,
little
you know,
broken.
like Pete essentially got the nut surgical, and it didn't matter whatsoever.
Right.
Albeit, you know, he would have been dead a turn sooner had those Flamewing Phoenixes still been in the table. Although, actually, I do have a funny story to tell regarding Ethan playing Hollow
Sure, let's
One.
go to you.
When Ethan just put his 2 Hollow Ones down on the table, you should never do that. Because what happened was he was playing at a GP against Black Green Tron.
Okay.
And he just had a hand of like he just spun the wheel, had 3 Hollow Ones, and he just said laid them on the table and said go. And his opponent called the judge, and Ethan's like, oh god, I've screwed this one.
Right.
And his opponent, the judge comes over and he's like, so, what did you do here? He's like, I put 3 Hollow Ones on the stack. And he's like, well, you don't have priority. He's like, yeah, okay, so we're going to rewind, put 2 Hollow Ones back in your hand.
You said go?
Well, no, so he put 2
Okay.
Hollow Ones back in his hand. Ethan puts 1 Hollow One on the stack, and in response, he surgicals the 4th one in his graveyard.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
so those at home, be careful with your showmanship.
Ooh.
You will get burned.
Yes. Clearly, Ethan hasn't learned a thing, though.
Well, I mean, you know, he thinks he already saw one. It's also Monday Night Modern. He doesn't care. if that happens to him again, he's probably going to be like, yep.
I will make that judge call again.
I'd like to wager that if that happened to him here, he would have ran into the booth and said, you know what? I never learn.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that was a
super-
savage angle, but Ethan was like, Ethan was mostly frustrated at himself for
Yeah.
allowing it to happen.
I don't think you can be mad at your opponent for doing that.
I mean, like you can, but ultimately it's on you. But
It depends on the REL because as much as you might say like that's bad manner and that's angle shooting, it's also really, really sloppy and inadvisable play.
It's just a shitty scenario, and because you have feelings of all of it, you have the feelings of damn, I just got angle shot, and also I just played like a buffoon and deserved to get angle shot.
Right, exactly.
So it's a little column A, little column B.
Yeah, I was playing against Michael Bond, pro player who was playing D&T. It was actually round 1 of a GP. I was playing Miracles at the time before the top balance.
Yeah.
And I
Top
played
ban.
the
Top balance was
the balance in which they banned it.
Yeah.
And I played Vendilion Click.
Yeah.
And
Uh-oh.
I had a Spell Pierce in my hand, and I genuinely intended to click my own Spell Pierce.
Yeah.
But when I cast the spell, and he put his hand on the table, and I was like, yeah. I calmly wrote down the cards in his hand, and then I said, target me. And he did not like that. He was very upset with me for the rest of the match. He didn't talk to me ever again. That guy doesn't like me anymore. But you know what?
You know, that's a little.
He misplayed.
It's a scenario that I would not fault anyone for taking advantage of, but he's coming to Garrett.
I mean, he tried to scum me out of my opportunity to click my own dead Spell Pierce out of my hand in game 1.
That's potentially true.
What am I gonna do? Not write down the cards in his hand?
Yeah, sure. Free information. Help yourself.
Right. Needless to say, there's a polite way to go about such things and an impolite way, and in retrospect, I could have done it a little differently.
Yeah.
That was competitive me, though. I don't play like that anymore.
He's a changed man.
Yeah.
He's out here winning team drafts and then just donating his winnings to his teammates. you didn't even take any cards from that, did you?
No, I did. I took the foil Arclight Phoenix. Because I'm specking on that card. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. It's an okay card. It's a 3/2 though. I'll shock it.
Magma Spray, dude.
Yeah, Magma Spray, even better.
All right, let's look at this game because we have an actual game here.
So it's just been land go.
But now Ethan's doing stuff on this turn, most likely.
Yeah, so now...
Oh, man. He needs one more discard, and he goes double Hollow One. Doesn't find it, though.
That's fine, though. I mean,
the Flame Blade at
that's still very fine. I mean, we have powerful spells in our hand that all do things. I see a Burning Inquiry.
Oh, he's got the Inquiry. Okay.
Okay, yeah, so...
So you inquiry and you pray not to discard the hollow ones.
It's interesting. I would consider playing Flameblade Adept here and going land go, because then next turn your Burning Inquiry will not only potentially cast you a hollow one, but it could also put the Flamewake Phoenix in his hand in the graveyard.
Sure.
And I think that's what he's going to do here.
Yeah, it's going to buff the Flameblade Adept that's in play as well.
Yeah, so it'll effectively give him the same amount of damage.
And I think that this is threatening enough that Pete might fire off some of his precious removal on just this 1/2.
For sure.
And then maybe the coast will be clear for the... I think we have a Tasigur and 2 hollow ones.
It's also entirely possible that Pete may deploy his own threat here.
Yep, he abrades it, so that is an answer to a hollow one. Of course, Pete does also have a Terminate in his hand.
Correct. So I think slight misplay, but
no, I like the play because that it's threatening. That Flameblade Adept is
also
itself.
Does he have black mana?
He does.
Okay. Pyromancer, land, go. Okay.
I absolutely like the play from Pete. You want to spend a 2-mana spell. You want to save your spell that answers anything and use your more situational abrade.
You're correct. This is also why I like Ethan's line as well. It allows him to deploy his mana effectively, just get that bolt out of his hand in an effective manner. And now, with Pete not firing off a spell in response to the Pyromancer, Coast is kind of clear. If he has a Spell Pierce, he's definitely casting it there. If he has any 1-mana blue instant, like a cantrip, he's casting it there. I could make an argument for him not bolting face, but...
Mitch, I did win that match.
So I see 2 hollow ones in his hand and a Flamewake Phoenix. I think he's going to Street Wraith first.
Sure, if he can find a Faithless Looting off the Street Wraith or another discard outlet, then he can hollow one without Burning Inquiry.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where you want to be. So I definitely like the Street Wraith first here. We're not under any pressure as well, so the 2 life isn't an issue.
I'm also just in the favor of Street Wraithing first anyway, because it's going to give you the most information of your hand.
Absolutely. Are those 2? No, one's a Tasigur, right?
Yeah, one's a Tasigur.
Okay.
So maybe he's thinking about not even deploying his payload now and maybe just cycling Street Wraith and casting Tasigur.
Okay, that's an interesting line as well.
It's something to think about. I don't see how many more lands he has in play, so maybe that's a consideration. Ultimately, this cycling the Street Wraith first will tell him what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's just making sure his life total is correct here.
Yeah, I believe he's at 15, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, 14 he fetched, yeah.
Right. Yep.
14, yeah.
Okay.
Draw from the Street Wraith.
So now he has another Tasigur.
And he's going to play it.
Playing it for full retail, as much mana as possible.
Really trying to play around the randomness of the Burning Inquiry, not just going all in.
Yeah, so I mean, now we're in a spot where he wants to really make sure he discards the right cards, especially not having land drops, because he is going to want to be able to activate those Flamewake Phoenixes as fast as possible.
Right. So if you're Pete, you just kill this.
Yeah, this guy is pretty much dead on arrival.
Yep.
He cannot be regenerated.
Nice.
He can't.
Relevant text.
All right, so that's a Goblin Lore.
Yeah, okay. That's better than an Inquiry in this spot because we're less likely to discard the hollow ones. So I like Ethan just immediately slamming it. Draw 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. That was a very, very good 4. I don't like looking at them, but it was a couple lands, Faithless Looting, and another Burning Inquiry, I believe. Okay. So potentially he's about to go off. There's one Burning Inquiry, there's one land, and there's a looting. Okay, so this is gonna be a good turn.
Definitely. 2 4/4s. This is turn 4 now, though. It's not turn 2 like last game. So
it is. That is true. But he's gonna play the Tasigur instead. Interesting.
No, he's playing also the hollow ones.
Oh right, duh. Yeah,
they cost 0.
I forgot that's how that card works.
Yeah. So now Pete is gonna need Damnation specifically.
He's playing around the surgical now. He's playing around the surgical now.
Well, there's nothing really.
Ceremonious Rejection, right? And here's the other one.
Nice. What is Ceremonious Rejection?
Counter target colorless spell.
Okay, wow. So Pete really. I don't know. That's an interesting.
That's
choice.
A good sideboard card to have. I mean, you're bringing it in against a lot of matchups. In the same vein that when I was playing Affinity, I'd bring in my Vandal Blast against Hollow One.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
So
Vandablast is better though because you didn't need to have it in your hand when they cast it.
Yeah,
Whereas if they just cast their hollow ones and then you draw
Right.
it's not like Steel Sabotage, which would let you.
Yeah, you could do. Oh,
Yeah, you could at least bounce it. Steel Sabotage.
I have a feeling that Ethan probably thought to himself after he threw those 2 hollow ones on the table game 1, like, ooh, I shouldn't do that. There's a reason why I did that. And then he played it in the correct sequence this game.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because he could just counter it and surgical it to deal with the next one.
Yep.
All right.
He could have the really cute play of countering it. So you counter it,
Ooh. Kolaghan's command, destroy target artifact.
getting back a
Young
Young
Pyromancer,
Pyromancer, I
I
think. That's pretty good.
That is great.
Oh, no, he said you discard a card.
Oh, no.
I'm not too fond of that mode. I think I would rather
that didn't
regrow
help.
the Pyromancer only because it's going to serve as...
Well, you see he just got punished. He just put a 2/2
Yeah, for-
haste onto his opponent's battlefield.
For that reason, and also I would just rather have the Pyromancer in my hand. I could even see an argument for doing it on his turn, maybe
Yeah.
draw stepping it even.
Sure. Yeah, we're definitely getting punished for it. Maybe during combat,
Yeah.
even because of the ferocious trigger.
Yeah, so if he finds a way to discard it himself,
Sure.
he could say, shatter your guy, shock your bird.
Now, it isn't the end of the world. Ethan is burning inquirying, so it's likely that he would have discarded it anyway. Another Phoenix in the yard? No, that's a
No, it's a
Goblin
Goblin Lore.
Okay.
And the last card in hand is a mountain. It doesn't really matter here. He's just going to save that to trigger a blood gas, potentially.
He's pretty much out of gas, and Pete is at 16, so he might be able to stabilize from this point. His last card in hand is a Faithless Looting, which is a very awkward last card.
Yeah.
Or it was a Faithless Looting. I guess we don't know what it is anymore. Let's see. I like Ethan's seat from here. This is going pretty well for him.
Yeah, I would rather have a 4/5 and a flying 2/2.
Sure.
And my opponent only has a 1/1. I
The
think
key is that Pete's draws are better. His
True.
draw steps are
that is
better.
true.
That is, he's going to need to draw well here. Oh, he misses Delver Trigger.
Ooh,
Rough.
awkward.
It's tough. Pete is someone who plays a lot of different decks.
Yes, that
He
is
likes
true.
deck building, and sometimes you haven't practiced a lot with the deck and you miss important triggers like that. So this is a Young Pyromancer. That was his.
Hopefully,
That was the card that was already in his hand, I believe.
Hopefully, he's not punished and wouldn't have flipped anyway. But looks like he was not punished anyway.
That's right. All right, and now he is a serviceable board of his own. So
We
do
are
have a
somewhat
game.
at parity.
Yeah.
He also has the mana to activate Tassiger.
Right, whereas his opponent does not. Oh, they will now this turn, though.
Lightning Bolt. I like
Not
Lightning
bad.
Bolt.
Sure. So do you activate Tassiger this turn, or do you just point a bolt at the Young Pyromancer?
I am right-clicking on Moto and clicking Attack with all creatures. There's a possibility.
Oh, that you want to bump and then bolt the Tassiger?
Yeah, there's a possibility of that.
Okay.
I'm sure that's what he's thinking about right now.
Sure.
It's rough because this Tassiger on Ethan. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. I like that play because his Tassiger is not going to realistically punch through Pyromancer tokens anyway.
Right.
And as it stands, ooh,
Nice block from Pete.
Good
I
block
really,
from
I really
Pete.
like that. Very smart play. Super heads up. He doesn't need the Delver. He doesn't want his guy to get bolted.
yeah, he has the inevitability here
Sure.
with the Pyromancer up.
Yeah. I'm not certain he has true inevitability, but
Right. But Pete's Tassiger is better than
it is
Ethan's.
better. Yep.
Yeah, that was a very that was a
Heads up block.
that was a very calculated block
Yeah.
on Pete's side. He has to think, well, why is he obviously attacking when he
Right.
can bump?
Yep.
And that would be why.
Yeah. Of course, the bolt finding a good target anyway. Pete attacking. Is this a damnation?
I would imagine he probably has some form of thing to cast.
He's delving.
Yeah, I think he's casting another. Ooh,
Yeah, Gurmak, right?
hopefully Gurmag Angler. If it's another Tasker and he's just giving his Tassiger Vigilance, that is a feels bad, but
Yeah.
oh,
That
it
is the play.
All right, that's a feels bad. Ethan was like, yes, it's not a Gurmag Angler.
So that's worth though, right? That's better than activating the Tasigur?
I believe so. I mean, he's pushing 4 damage in. He's definitely bumping this time. Yeah.
Yeah, you have no choice here. And Gurmag was the draw from Ethan.
I have a Gurmag now.
It's rough.
See, they're having fun. They're smiling on both sides there.
And I keep saying Damnation, and I feel like Pete is going to watch this later and be like, I don't have that card. Why does he think I have it? I know your Delver deck doesn't have it.
We don't have deck lists, guys.
And I know your deck probably doesn't have it, but I'm just naming Magic cards you could cast that would do a thing.
Simeon Spirit Guide, Metamorphose. Literally any card ever printed.
Yeah. That is the classic one. What are realistic cards that Pete could have that could get him out of here?
I have no idea, but Faithless Looting is going to find it, maybe. Another Gurmag Angler is pretty good.
Removal spell?
That's a Delver of Secrets.
Chump blocker?
That'll block.
That's rough.
I mean, theoretically, he can double block a Tasigur and then still die.
So, yeah, he's got a chump, right?
Yeah.
And he's still going to 4. It was actually so close there at the end. I feel like if Pete had drawn a Gurmag instead of a Tasigur, he would have been in a good spot.
Yeah. As it stands here, this game is pretty much over. Literally buying 4 Metamorphose right now.
Block. Is that card expensive now?
Yeah, it's like over $10.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I just have a bunch of those lying around.
Yeah, you should sell those. Well, I mean, hold on to a little more because they didn't get reprinted in Ultimate Masters,
Okay.
but when the next like reprint set starts bubbling up, definitely sell them for them. And it looks like it's Damnation off the top ropes for our friend Chops.
Which, again, we know he doesn't have.
I mean, he might just pull out a steel chair out of his back and just bust him in the head. You have no idea.
Damnation would be such a sick draw. But, see,
Cute.
I don't think you should play it in your 75 as a Delver deck.
Just cue Randy Bueller. Oh my god, it's Lightning Helix!
Yeah. Oh, man. It was a really good match.
If I'm Pete here, I'm confidently putting Hidetsugu's second right on the stack. I would be remiss if I didn't mention to all the good viewers at home that I defeated Galen Baker in a match of Battle Box, putting the spell Hidetsugu's second right on the stack, targeting him. Nice. So Galen Baker, or anyone who knows Galen Baker, if you're watching this, that's all I had to say.
Got him.
He hates when I mention it.
Great.
So,
all right, Serum Visions looking for an out.
He's dead to rights. I don't think there's anything he can possibly do here. They're just trying to do the math, I guess.
I think they're discussing if a different play would have been correct previously.
Potentially.
And there's Anger of the Gods is the sweeper of choice, but it doesn't do a lot. It just exiles the Flame Wake Phoenix.
I'm still a fan of Anger of the Gods.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing in it exiles Bloodghast, it exiles Flame Wake Phoenix.
Ethan Gajewski's going to win.
Ooh, Bantu's last
Reckoning.
Oh god, that's Bantu's Last Reckoning's music.
Huh?
You know Bantu's Last Reckoning? No. That is a 3-mana Wrath, and it just says your land's done on tap.
Right. An excellent match 4.
Yeah.
I do think Pete navigated it really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what's going to happen in a game with randomness. You can play well and still lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the good players manage to play well frequently enough that, statistically speaking, they... You know, sometimes, to use poker terminology, you know, if you navigate yourselves into coin flips where you stand to gain more than you lose, even if you're losing your flips, you're still playing optimally.
Right.
So, you know, Chops could have gone 0-4 today for all we know and still have played better than anyone in the room.
Right, absolutely.
You know, sometimes that just happens.
And sometimes it's a deck choice. And I do think that we saw the Faithless Looting, not to harp on this too much, but not being as effective as his Thought Scour could have been in his place. And him playing very well otherwise. And I do think that it's just a rough matchup for like a mid-range deck against the black-red discard deck because it's so explosive. And we saw in Game 2, Pete just didn't even have an opportunity to play Magic before he got run over by Hollow Ones. So that's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah, that will certainly happen. And, that will happen sometimes. We could even bring Ethan Gajewski in the booth here to talk about his victory. I'm sure.
You want to do the interview?
Yeah, I would love to do the interview. I'm sure he would love to come and talk about Magic the Gathering.
Awesome. gotta keep it quick, Brian.
That's so fine. What are you guys eating after this? Okay. Are you trying to eat after this? Are you trying to eat after this?
I got a bunch of food.
All right. Well, we have here the victor of our last match, Young Morticians Union. Swiftly defeated Chops in 3 games.
Yes.
How'd it go?
It was actually a really interesting match.
Yeah,
Especially the game 3.
Yeah, the game 3 was very interesting.
I guess not. Well, he ended up not having Spell Pierce that I was playing around.
You're right.
He ended up having Ceremonious Rejection.
Right.
But I still think that my hand was pretty well equipped to play slower there with Lightning Bolt for his first threat. So. Yeah, it was pretty happy.
Were you thinking, so game 2, when you confidently spewed 2 hollow ones on the table, were you thinking about that judge call at the GP Hartford when you got surgical?
Was there a hollow one in my graveyard?
No, there wasn't.
Yeah. So he.
But
yeah.
I
wouldn't have been able to do it.
I made a note of that because then in the 3rd game you went, okay, 1 hollow one, now another hollow.
Well, I mean, he just had mana up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there had been a hollow one in my graveyard, I would have been able to. He would have been able to blow me out. I'm not sure he would have seen it though. Or angle.
Chops is
angle
a
shot me to that degree.
Chops is a powerful mage.
No, but like that's a bit of an angle shot.
Yeah, a little
like,
bit.
Yeah, because you never surge split otherwise. But
How do you like the matchup as hollow one against?
hollow one's pretty good against all of these like Grixis-y mid-range decks.
Yeah, that's what we were noting. Is it's not really a tempo strategy as it is in Legacy. It's just kind of a good stuff pile, really.
Hollow one is typically pretty good in all of the like mid-range-ish, control-ish type matchups that like aren't terminusing you.
Right.
So like Hollow one's very good against Jeskai, very good against Jund.
Yeah, I mean recursive threats is
Yeah,
really
yeah.
the name of the game there.
Yeah, and the best thing is that like you aren't there isn't a lot of pressure on you to have one of your really degenerate fast draws. Whereas like in a matchup like Infect or Tron, there's just a lot of pressure to Goldfish really quickly. You have to mulligan way more aggressively.
But it's a deck that can efficiently put that
Yeah.
result out there.
The Hollow One deck, in certain matchups, you can keep just the vast majority of your hands and then sit there for 5 to 7 turns, and eventually you'll present a board that they can't really do anything about.
You're playing a Modern GP this weekend. Are you playing Hollow One? If you were to play Modern GP this weekend.
I would probably play Humans.
Okay. You heard it here. Don't trust the Hollow Boys.
I don't know. My Modern repertoire is pretty limited. Hollow One is definitely the deck I'm best at in the format, but I don't think it's very good right now.
Alright.
I think the format's a little, I don't know. Hollow One isn't very good against fast combo, and that seems to be what the format's about right now.
Yeah, that's why we were saying Jund was canceled. Too much.
Yeah, Jund seems pretty bad.
Alright, well, so you just 3-1 Redcap's Modern. What are you going to do with the sword credit?
Hopefully rebuy, because I then drained my account to play the PT.
Need to fire some more bullets.
Yeah.
Alright, well, that's Ethan, guys. If you want to follow him on Twitter, at Morticians
Thanks for
Union.
having me on.
Am I going to invite you back to the group chat?
Yeah, you can do
Alright, are we going to podcast tomorrow?
Baby.
Alright.
Ask Brian.
I'll ask Brian. There might be a podcast tomorrow at
Check out my
twitch.tv.
Mox results.
Yeah, do that shit. Alright, well, that's Ethan Gajewski, our last round victor. That's going to be it for the night. I'm going to go consult with Garrett, see if there's any final comments we want to talk about. I don't think there is a chew in the works, Ed. I might just run along home. I got work tomorrow. Let me go consult with Garrett. I will be right back.
That is going to wrap up the stream for this evening. The tournament is over.
The tournament's over.
Winners have been decided. Losers have been shamed.
Yeah.
Everyone was given their chance. Some people took advantage of it, and some messed it up.
Yeah, generally when I'm presented with the options of either winning or losing, I prefer winning.
Preferably.
So those who lost today are going to probably want to go home and rethink about their plays today in order to not lose in the future.
Checks out.
Because generally, when you win, you get 3 match points. When you lose, you get 0. So the math is pretty clear there.
Yeah, I think so as well. And with that sterling analysis, I think we will call it a night.
Yeah, so I mean that's it. It's been real, guys.
Yeah. Sorry again for coming in late. We started at 7:30 tonight because of computer problems. But tune in next week on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard
Sharp.
Time.
It'll be sharp like
It will
cheddar.
be the sharpest. Well, we usually start the stream around 6:15 just to get people in.
Yeah.
Round 1 starts at 6:30 sharp.
Swiss cheese even.
Yes, and we hope to see you then.
Follow me on Twitter at AlexJChen.
Or check out
Redcap's Corner.
Redcap's
You can see
Corner.
See, they got the socials. They've been
and check out Alex Chen.
Redcap's been plugged.
Are you on Twitter?
I am on Twitter.
Tweener?
AlexJChen. AlexJayChen.
Check it out, guys.
Also, catch me at the Envy in a couple weeks when I win.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Later, guys.